Well, did I call it or did I call it? The tradcon, that is traditional conservative civil war, is in full swing because when you give bad people power, the only thing that can happen is bad things. Everything you see it there, neo-conservative, white supremacist Matt Walsh, uber white supremacist Megyn Kelly. Yes, I'm going there with it. And these two are now at each other's throats. But don't believe me, by the way, Matty boy, fair use, Matty boy.
And I'm going to play those comments from Megyn and offer a response. But before I do that, I need to rewind the clock by about a year to set the stage. And before I do that, I need to preface everything I'm saying by saying that I personally like Megyn. I've been on her show a number of times. I've had nothing but pleasant interactions with her. I met her in person for the first time at one of the inaugural balls in January. I found her to be very kind in person. So I have no personal problem with her at all. But she does have a bit of a problem with me, it would seem. So before we get to Megyn's comments this week, I'm going to play something that she said about me last year.
Okay, so basically these alt-right people in internet media are at each other hammer and tong, as you should have known it would be, because I only told you all about this going on years ago here now, and now that they are empowered, away we go. So what Matt is letting you know is that, first of all, he knows she's been throwing shade at him for a while. So Megyn Kelly been throwing shade at Matt, but not just him. But I guess he thought he was in the clear because she just recently talked to Ben Shapiro. I mean, alt-right racist fiend. And I guess Matty Boy thought that he was in the clear because his Daily Wire sponsor had talked to Megyn recently. And he found out the hard damn way, actually, no, you ain't. But what he's letting you know is that they've been keeping notes. He's been keeping notes for a while that she's been taking little slick shots at him. And he's letting you, what he's trying to say is that I haven't said anything while she's been pummeling me, at least for a year. And that's when he wants to let you know she was on some other podcast called Chicks on the Right. And he let it be known that even though he didn't say anything, he knew she had been taking little slick disses at him.
And I heard this clip at the time, but I decided not to say anything about it or to respond to it. I try not to get into public spats with people on our own side, which is why I quite frequently let it slide when people on our side, who I thought were friends or at least friendly, take shots at me, which it happens all the time. But I feel it necessary to bring this up now because it will provide some important context to Megyn's remarks last week.
Now, I'm just letting you all, I let that play because I wanted you all to hear I called it. I'm not making it up now, and I'm not exaggerating. He's like, yeah, I hear folk out there saying things, and he's making it known that he knows she's not the only one, because she isn't, and that he let it slide all this time because, quote, we're all on the same side. We're all on the same side. At least that's what he thought. And then he found out, you're all on the same side until you're on the wrong side of her blade. So here are the comments he was referring to.
And also, I think the conflict between feminism and what we now call the traditional view of marriage and gender roles is coming to a head. It's coming to a head on the right. And now is the time to get it all out in the open. As conservatives, we have to decide if we want to conserve the view of the sexes that was held by basically everyone in the world for all of human history until the middle of the 20th century, or if we want to conserve feminism. We cannot conserve both. And I know which I prefer. So with that said, let's go back to February 3rd, 2024, when Megyn Kelly appeared on a podcast called Chicks on the Right. At the time that this podcast was recorded, Megyn was pretty angry at me for making some derogatory comments about feminism, as I tend to do. And here is the setup from the host. Listen.
I think it was right after you'd written a book. And so we had you on to talk about your book. And there was some controversy happening at the time with Matt Walsh. And I know you had a beef with him recently on Twitter.
Back then
about
there was a controversy?
topic. Yes.
Oh my God.
There was controversy because he's always been the same guy when it comes to women.
Now, did you hear how Megyn tried to play dumb when they brought up their receipts about that? Really? When? They were like, by the way, you've been beefing for me. I did?
And so we had you on to talk about your book. And
comments about feminism, as I tend to do. And here is the setup from the host. Listen.
I think it was right after you'd written a book. And so we had you on to talk about your book. And there was some controversy happening at the time with Matt Walsh. And I know you had a beef with him recently on Twitter.
Back then
about
there was a
similar
controversy?
topic. Yes.
Oh my God.
There was controversy because he's always been the same guy when it comes to women have their place and that needs to be at home and they shouldn't have careers and all that stuff. So, and it was about that. And we talked to you about that. And you said something that has never left my brain. And I loved how you said it. And I refer back to it all the time because I struggled with his arguments. He's very persuasive. He's an excellent writer, as I'm sure you know. And his criticisms were like getting to me. And I remember that I asked.
Matt Walsh is very persuasive if you have an 8th grade education. If you're anything beyond an 8th grade education, Matt Walsh is parochial school at best. So if you're impressed by him, all I can say is you're a person very easily impressed who hasn't really hung around anybody with a mature train of thought. That's all I can really say. So for basic 3rd grade issues, grade school issues, yeah. Beyond that, stop.
And I refer back to it all the time because I struggled with his arguments. He's very persuasive. He's an excellent writer, as I'm sure you know. And his criticisms were like getting to me. And I remember that I asked you about it in that show. And you said, I just know that having a career and family, having that career makes me the best version of myself for my family. And I was like, that is the perfect way to describe how we think, I think how we feel about our own careers.
Absolutely.
It just really resonated with me. And so when I saw you guys kind of beefing about a month ago or 3 weeks ago or whatever about the similar issue.
Okay, so we'll get to Megyn's, what she says in a second.
Okay, you can see he's salty already there. He didn't even let it keep playing. He was just like, look here, let me bust on up in here.
Well, I will say guilty as charged. I have always been the same guy. For the most part, I'm saying the same things now that I said 13 years ago when I was a mostly unknown blogger with like 5,000 Twitter followers. I might be a jerk, but at least I've always been the same kind of jerk.
Okay, but Matt, that's about as honorable as Hitler saying, well, you know, I've always been a Nazi. I never lied about that. I might be a Nazi, but I'm the same Nazi.
You have to give me that. But Megyn Kelly has had enough of it. She's had enough of my crap, and she wants me to shut up. And I'm not exaggerating. That's what she said verbatim. Listen.
And again, having said that, I like the guy. I'm getting a little tired of his nonstop judgment of women who make different choices than the ones he wants us to make. Sorry, Matt, you're not our Jesus. We don't answer to you. Like, live your life the way you want to live it and stop judging everybody who makes a different choice. I'm sick of it. I know you gals, and generally women, we're not judging moms who choose to stay at home and raise their kids. That's a choice we celebrate.
Absolutely not.
We love. Those are our sisters and our friends and our moms. Women aren't doing this to other women for the most part. It's guys like Matt. Like, shut up. I'm not out there saying your wife is boring and a loser because she decided not to get a job. I don't think that. I think it's awesome. She's the mother of 6 children. She must be incredibly busy. But why are you looking at every woman who works and trying to pass judgment and make her feel guilty about her choices all the time? It's a fail. We don't feel guilty because of you. But I'm just getting tired of his random posts about how the one woman who said, oh, I'm confessing that I really liked it when the guy I dated wanted to pay for the meal. And he's like, no, you can't have that unless you play the traditionally feminine role. Who died and made you boss of all women? What are you saying? Like, I don't know why he feels the need to try to set fake guardrails around our behavior. It's a no, Matt. We don't need you.
Yeah. Although we have seen, though, there are a lot of these conservative pundits, younger ones, the younger women who are kind of taking that discourse and running with it and saying, hey, say no to the high-powered careers, ladies.
Oh, boy, it is getting rough over there in alt-right land, isn't it? Oh, man. Oh, boy, this is Battle of the Monsters, Godzilla versus Mothra. I don't know who to vote against. I don't know who to root against here. Wow. Is there any way we can set this up so they take each other out? Which would, of course, be the most desirable of all outcomes. But yeah, buddy, she has dropped the polite tones. Oh, Matt was like, well, you know, people on our side, what he meant, and this is what I've always told people about, the reason why the so-called red pill movement was doomed from the beginning there is because it's not a red pill movement, it's a white pill movement, which is the point I always made. Now, I have white listeners here on my channel. Shout out to y'all. And one thing you have to keep in mind here is that if you think you're going to drill holes in one half of the boat and that the folks on that half are going to drown and you're going to be okay, that's not the way this is going to work. It isn't. And what these guys have tried to do is they've tried to devise some devious strategy whereby which they can consolidate power for themselves. And this is all about power, by the way, which of course makes Matt even more disgusting, but also more useless because you can't get the job done, Matt, if you're not going to be honest and straightforward about what it is that the men want. And clearly you are too pathetic of a representative for it because you won't be honest about it. I'll get to that here in a few moments and show you. But yeah, they're going at each other hammer and tong over there. She said, yeah, I'm dropping the polite tones. Let me just go ahead and pick up this Louisville Slugger and give this dude the business. And she got right to it. So, I mean, this was a no holds barred, bare knuckle, full frontal assault. I mean, she said, shut up. Who died and made you king? I mean, she went right at his credibility. She brought his wife into it. What? Oh, I didn't forget that. She brought his wife into it now. I didn't say she's a loser because she's sitting at home. I think she's great. Okay, well, so she brought his wife into it. That wasn't necessary. That wasn't required. But she said, let me go ahead and drag Miss Walsh up in here. So yeah, dude, folks, they're fighting dirty. They're letting it go. They're letting their hands go here. And Matt didn't take to that very nicely at all, especially when he realized there was a pattern that had formed. So he's not happy about that. All right, let me go ahead and play some more.
Wow. Megyn. Okay.
Did you see the way he was sitting back in his seat like that? Now, this is Matt Walsh emotionally agitated like you've never seen before.
Wow. Megyn. Okay. I confess that I don't take very kindly to being told to shut up, especially by someone who's supposed to be on the same side and who could reach out to me and voice her concerns privately if she wanted to. But it doesn't hurt my feelings. I could take the heat, which is why I let this go at the time. But this rant is now newly relevant given what she said last week. So keep in mind the language that Megyn just used. She said that I don't understand women. I'm trying to control women. I'm trying to tell women what to do. I'm trying to be Jesus. I'm trying to be the Jesus of women or whatever. I'm judging women. I'm putting up guardrails. Now, I don't think that that's an accurate characterization at all, but I do think that these terms would pretty well describe Megyn's attitude towards young men. So here she is on her show last week. Listen.
But here's what's happening on the right. Young women, I talk to young conservative women all the time about their lives and their goals and, the things that they want. And what's happening is they can't find men who are maybe more conservative. Usually they're looking for somebody who is religious, like a lot of conservative women tend to be God-loving conservatives. And they can't find a lot of young men who want to marry a working woman now. And this is an actual problem that's coming up on the right. And to me, it's so sad because it's like, how did we get to the point where we're now telling young, conservative, amazing women that they're not attractive if they also work, if they choose to, let's say, do what I'm doing and what you're doing and get their voice out there. But I'll stick with me just because I think conservatives listening to this will like the thought of another Megyn Kelly voice up and coming. Well, why wouldn't we want that? Why would we take somebody who's talented in this field and really wants to make a difference and have the messaging to her be, you're really not that valuable unless you give it up and go into the home and only have a family and only raise a family. And not only are we sending her that message, but young men are actually believing that. They're actually believing it, especially on the right, because the trad mom has gotten so popular. And it's no, if we do that, we're not going to have any strong conservative or right-leaning women to provide a role model for younger conservative women who, and there's nothing to apologize.
By the way, now, isn't that identity politics? Isn't Megyn Kelly sitting here right now babbling and sputtering all over herself? Identity politics? Conservative women? Well, that's an identifier, Megyn. That's an identity, Megyn. That's DE-lie, Megyn. So I just couldn't help but notice, hey, Megyn, you hate identity politics until you want to start using them. Then all of a sudden, you want the white males to observe your identity politics. She didn't say anything about being qualified or anything else. It is just you need a woman to speak to other women. Well, that's identity politics. And this is why you're going to see a lot of the white dudes who gave her a pass when they wanted to let Donald Trump get in the White House. You're going to see a lot of them start to swerve on her. They're going to bust a you because they realize what they're hearing here. Now, if I caught this, they all caught this. But by the way, yeah, they know what they're hearing, and she's calling for identity politics as long as it favors her. Now, if it's a non-white woman, she gonna stop you, but she's telling the white men, you need to respect my ovaries, even if they are kind of dried up. You need to respect my ovaries. So yeah, buddy, you better believe there's gonna be some pushback on this.
They're actually believing it, especially on the right, because like the trad mom has gotten so popular, and it's like, no, if we do that, we're not going to have any strong conservative or right-leaning women.
So she's upset because she sees young males are expressing a preference for traditional womanhood as espoused by the dominant society in America. But traditional American, what they perceive as traditional American womanhood here and female gender roles. So that she's upset because the young men are expressing that. Because she gets what I've understood the whole damn time. The reason why they made such a big deal about some of these folk around Trump and Charlie Kirk and others is because they talk to the young, not the folks 50 and older, but the people 38 and younger. They're talking to them. They're speaking to them. If you're able to identify with them and speak to their issues and speak their language and speak to their circumstances, well, that's what's going to rule the future. If you can speak to the young, you own the future. And Megyn Kelly is like, no, the future should want something different than what it says it wants. She's not pulling rank on them. And that's giving her fits.
To provide a role model for younger conservative women who, and there's nothing to apologize for here, don't necessarily want to spend all their 20s and their 30s getting married and having kids.
So Megyn says that young men these days don't want to.
Okay, so she just went full bare knuckle to tell you it's okay if females don't want to spend their 20s. They don't want to prioritize getting married and being a wife in their 20s. So this is it. All the red pill, manosphere, alt-right. Okay, well, red pill, manosphere. We'll come back to you alt-right dudes. Matt, we'll come back to that in a little bit. But she's sitting up here saying that she is the representative, the Pied Piper, to preach the sermon to women, white women specifically, but this leaks out into the greater society. She's got Anna, so it doesn't matter whether they're so-called left wing or right wing, which, by the way, Rolo, congratulations. Welcome to reality here. Welcome to the dark side. We have cookies.
Join me, and I will complete your training.
Better way late than never. But I've always, as you all know, going on 2 decades now, I have told you, left wing and right wing, there's no such thing. These are just describing twin wings on one bird. And now these guys, now that it's not serving their interests, now they want to say that there isn't a difference between the two. Now they want to say that. Yeah, now that it's reared its head and bared its fangs, now you're hearing them say things like that. And that's going to come back to bite you too, buddy. You can't run from this, not on your side. Over here, we can be honest. You can't afford to be, because once you start telling some lies, you got to keep following the lie. If you try to dismantle it, you debunk yourself. So now you're handcuffed and strapped in for the ride. Well, little old Matt understood what he just heard right there. Megyn Kelly has proclaimed herself to be the leader of the non-traditional conservative career woman. And it doesn't matter if you wait till way late, because remember, Megyn Kelly, I believe, had in vitro fertilization. She got pregnant by her second husband in her 40s. So, of course, this multi-millionaire woman has no problem telling you what's okay for you. Well, she got pregnant in her 40s. And she could pay for treatments and all that stuff there. So, yeah, she could sit here and tell you that. Is Candace Owens doing the same thing? I don't know. We know that they're both way long in the tooth for having kids. So they have no problem telling you, wait till your 30s or your 40s. You can start a family whenever you want to. And yeah, then they're not telling you the whole story about themselves. You should put that on Front Street. If that's going to be the advice you're going to give women, if that's what you're going to tell men that they should accept, then you need to also tell them the whole story, Megyn. Yeah, you can wait till your late 30s or 40s if you can pay for it. And by the way, do you really want to wait that late anyway so that she can fulfill her career fantasy? Is that what you want? So Megyn, she's kicked a beehive there because, boy, the fellas who gave her a pass simply because there was an election on. The election is over, and damn it, they're back to slugging it out. And what do you know? First one they're going to throw overboard is Megyn. And before this video is over, you are going to hear Matt literally cancel her. No, I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not exaggerating. He is literally going to cancel her before this program is over.
Marry a career woman, and she's
and having kids.
So Megyn says that young men these days don't want to marry a career woman, and she says this is a real problem. She says that these young men are not attracted to working women, but obviously she thinks they should be. That these men are believing the, anti-feminist propaganda. They've been duped, says Megyn Kelly. It's very sad. She says it's sad. In other words, it seems that the one putting up guardrails and judging other people for what they want in life is Megyn Kelly. Megyn doesn't seem to understand these young men. She says that I don't understand women, she says, and I probably understand women more than she thinks I do, but I admit that I don't understand them perfectly. I'm not a woman after all. I've been married to a woman for almost 15 years. I'm raising 2 girls. I have a mom and 4 sisters. I'm not clueless on the subject, but I'm not an expert on the inner life of women, and I've never claimed to be. Tax season is officially here, and the IRS is turning up the heat with the April.
Okay, so he wants to sell some schlock, but we're going to skip forward here so you can hear him going a little bit of his tirade. I want you to hear some of what he has to say here.
To a woman with a career, but he's not going to be words, but that's the kind of idea that a woman might communicate to her friends about the man that she's dating. A man is not going to say that about a woman. As a man, I have never heard another man say anything approaching that about a woman that he's dating or married to. I've never heard that, because men and women are different. They are looking for different things.
He's saying that he never heard a man say that he valued a woman's career. So that's what he's talking about. I'll back it up a little bit so you can hear him say it, but he's saying that he'd never heard, men don't care about that, and he's never heard males sit around and say that that's an accolade for women.
Heard by people like Megyn as believing that women should only ever do the dishes and laundry and nothing else, but that's not actually my view. I think a woman's first priority should be the children and the home, but that doesn't mean she can't do other things and pursue other vocations alongside that. And as I said, in many cases, a family might feel that they need 2 full-time incomes in order to survive. I understand all of that, but this conversation is about ideals and about attraction. What is the ideal that men strive for? What qualities do they find attractive in a woman?
Oh boy, you know, you're going to find yourself in trouble with this too, Matty boy. All you alt-right, tradcon, posers, really, because that's all you all really are, because Matt is phony as he can be too. But that one's going to get you right there, Matt, when you talk about attraction. You see, folks, you cannot have attraction without passion. And what they're describing to you is what your duty should be. That you have a duty to do certain things. Well, you can't have attraction without passion. Passion doesn't care about duty. So it's going to be real rough for you to sell what folks should do and then tell them they shouldn't have passion for it. Don't follow what attracts you, but you should do what your duty is. This is where you all are going to stumble over each other.
So most men ideally would like to earn an income that would allow them to be the sole breadwinner in the home. Most men like the idea of being the provider. That ideal will not always become a reality, but it is the ideal. And as for attraction...
Now, Matt, first of all here, I'm not going to say you're lying because you're not very bright in this area here. I guess some folks think if you put on a plaid shirt and a scruffy beard that somehow that's supposed to convey authority on something, then you say silliness. So I'm just saying it's just upside down world. Matt, males do not want to be providers. That's not what the bone of contention is. The bone of contention is that men want to be leaders.
And deal with it.
That's the issue. And either you are too dishonest and shy to say that, but why should you subscribe to malice, which you can subscribe to simple stupidity? Or you're not very bright about this. You don't have a unified ideology. You don't know. You've been coddled off in your own little private closet that you call marriage, and you have no real touch with the real world, and thus you don't even understand what motivates men. You're not one. You don't understand what motivates men. Certainly not single men today. You have no idea. They don't want to be providers. They want to be leaders. Providers are not respected. Leaders are. Folks, when you go to Walmart, the checkout girl at the register provides you service. Do you respect her? Simply being in that role or that position? I didn't say, are you polite? I said, do you respect her? As a man in the home with a woman and children, you're not looking to be liked. I mean, that's cool to be liked. But if you're not respected, all the rest of that goes out the window. So Matt is trying to say this in terms that he thinks is going to be diplomatic to Megyn Kelly, or this is the silliness he tells himself, just showing how stupid he really is. Males don't want to be providers. They want to be leaders. A function of leadership is providing. But that's not the goal. The goal isn't to be some generous giver. The goal is to lead, and one of your functions as a leader is to provide. That's not the chief thing right there. You have to, without the position of leadership, you're being exploited. You can be a provider without being a leader. But it is worthless to be a leader who can't provide. So that providing is your way of establishing your leadership. And if you are afraid to say it like that, or if you're too uninformed or, in your case, unintelligent to say it like that, then you're not actually speaking to the audience, and you're not saying to the men what they're really looking for. And you cannot fix a problem if you will not face a problem. You got to call it for what it is. Hey, ladies, we're not looking to be liked. We want to be liked, but we need to be respected. In the home, we will be providers, but that's not the position we're campaigning for. We're not campaigning for chief provider position. We're campaigning for leader. Megyn Kelly ain't talking about following nobody. That's the problem. That's where the natural conflict and friction will come from between what she's saying and what Matty Boy is saying. Matt the moron won't say that because he doesn't have enough manhood with him to be able to even articulate it. The issue is this is about leadership. And if you will not come straight up the middle and say, no, that's what we're here for, you can't get it fixed. Here's the problem. Once again, as I said, debunking Matt is child's play to anybody with more than an 8th grade education. And I'm talking about public school education on the worst side of the Bronx. Matt doesn't know what to say if you say you're looking for leadership because he's afraid of what the response will be. Amazing how they champion Donald Trump, and he's never afraid of what the response will be, even if it's stupid what he says. But these folks don't know how to respond to what will be said next because you're afraid that if you say you want to be, that you're here to be leader, you're afraid of when they will inevitably push back on that or object to it. Now, I've already given you all the justification for that. As the man, ma'am, if a situation jumps off and our lives are threatened, if I'm not leading, then who gonna stand in front of the bullets and who's gonna stand in front of the knife-wielding local madman? Now, if you leading, you get on over there and suck up them bullets. When we're upstairs in your great big cabin homes with all that alt-right money that you and Megyn Kelly got, when y'all are upstairs and you hear something go bump in the night downstairs, ma'am, if I'm not leading, then I'm going to tap you on the shoulder. Hey, baby, go down there, go see what that is. Just kick the door in down there. Now, the other thing is that you cannot be a part-time leader. There's no such creature as part-time leading. Either leadership is a position and I got it 24/7 and it's never in question, or you think it's up for a debate, in which case, you know what, ma'am, if you think there's an argument or a debate here, I'm not the leader for you. I'll be leading, I just won't be leading you. And good luck with the dude downstairs who's making his way up the stairs as we speak. Good luck with that. Because in about 5 seconds, it's going to be just you and him, and you can take the leadership role in defense of your own safety. At that point, you're going to have everybody in the damn room shutting their damn mouths because no one is going to say, as the man, it doesn't matter if you are protector. Oh, well, so my ability to protect makes me leader. My ability to provide, well, makes me liked. But I'm not just leader off the rip. This position sucks. If your leadership status can be rescinded at any moment by the people who are supposed to be following you, but you still got to take bullets, that's not a leader, that's a servant. Well, Jason, why does that matter? Because if I got to stand in front of bullets for these people behind me, then I'm going to dictate the terms upon which I will do that. You don't get to tell me what type of household I'm going to be in if one of my responsibilities will be standing in front of bullets for the people in this home. Oh, no, 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 no. No, if I got to stand in front of bullets, if I got to stand in front of screaming bosses, if I got to slug it out with landlords, if I got to do that, then I am going to write the rules in this house. And that's just the bottom line. Ain't no discussion. Now, if any of you ladies would like to sit here and now stand up proudly for your right to stand in front of bullets to defend this home, well then now you can lead all you damn well want. Now, Matt doesn't have the brains, integrity, testosterone levels to be able to say what I just said. He wouldn't say it. If he did, he'd sit there quibbling and with his lip quivering and stumbling over himself. But by the way, what I just said, he doesn't have the guts, brains, or fortitude to say it just like that. And by the way, once you say that, there's not an argument. There really isn't. because you put it in the women's labs. By the way, you ready to take them bullets? Then you can lead. Which one of y'all is stepping up to do it? Megyn Kelly gonna just sit there and cross her little twiggy legs, and that's gonna be the end of that. That's how you justify a man's position, Matt. If you were one, you know that already. You're not. You don't.
Men are not generally attracted to a woman's professional ambitions. And that's just not the quality that attracts a man to a woman. Now, that isn't to say that men are never attracted to women with careers. What I'm saying is that the fact that a woman has a career will rarely be the thing, or even one of the things, that men find attractive about her. Okay? When a man is talking to his friends about a woman he's dating, he's almost certainly not going to say any version of this. Dude, she's great. She takes her career really seriously. She's super ambitious. She has so much earning potential. Now, that's the kind of thing that a woman might say to her friends, maybe using different words, but that's the kind of idea that a woman might communicate to her friends about the man that she's dating. A man is not going to say that about a woman. As a man, I have never heard another man say anything approaching that about a woman that he's dating or married to. I've never heard that, because men and women are different. They are looking for different things, Megyn. A man might be attracted to a woman with a career, but he's not going to be attracted to her because of her career.
A woman being able to not be lazy, not be a leech, that communicates something. So he's trying to expand it to as much of an extreme as he can. But the bottom line is, today, men are not looking for a chick who's unemployed either. It is an enhancement, or it can be. Let me put it like that. It can be an enhancement if you demonstrate an ability or a competence to accomplish something. That can be an enhancement. What that doesn't translate to is that your degree or your job is what speaks to your quality as a mate. Now, there's where the misconception comes in. Those are enhancements for your character, enhancements for your personality, but they are not your qualifiers for whether or not you make for what caliber of mate you would be.
And
Matt doesn't know that either.
And a woman who puts her career before anything, a woman who prioritizes her professional ambitions above all else, will be very unappealing to the vast majority of men. And I know that might be upsetting for you to hear, Megyn, but it's just true, okay? Because men and women are different, and they want different things. The difference between the romantic interests of a man and of a woman could perhaps be best summarized this way. Here's a kind of a thought experiment. If you give a man a choice between an attractive, sweet, kind, feminine grocery store cashier who makes $13 an hour and wants nothing more than to become a mother one day, or a high-powered, ambitious, loud, rich corporate girl boss whose greatest dream is to be a CEO one day, most men, I'm telling you, will choose the former without hesitation.
Now, did he just sit up here and reword fresh and fit?
What?
Did he just take, the drive-through girl analogy? Did he just do that? Like I say, Matt's always been a female ass kisser in that regard, but now what he's showing you is that he's learning masculinity on the job. He's letting you all know that after 15 years, in his very awkward way, he's learning this on the job, and he's last minute trying to adopt talking points from inept dudes over there, by the way. But yeah, y'all, he doesn't have this ideology. He's saying this as if he just found this out, which in his case he probably did. But we know where he got it from. And by the way, I've exposed already and explained the fallacy in that statement. By the way, I've already explained that. I've already explained that one there too. Well, depending on the caliber of the man, there's where you get in trouble. But yeah, Matty boy is sitting up here trying to learn on the job. He's been going over YouTube, so clearly he's been watching Fresh and Fit. He doesn't know he doesn't know the whole ideology. They don't have it. He doesn't have all of theirs, and they don't have all of where it came from. So he's doing his best to ad lib on the fly, and it's awkward as hell because he doesn't know where to take this. He doesn't know where the pitfalls are. And if you hit him with that, he's just going to lock up and start babbling more. So if you don't know where the fallacies are in the analogy you just gave, Maddie, it's not going to work for you. You're going to make yourself look more stupid than usual. So you got a lot more to read. You have a lot more to watch and learn. But we can all see when it was time for you to go up against Megyn Kelly, you didn't rely on your books or your blog. You went to YouTube and did the best you could to remix what you heard over there, because that's an argument that males can relate to. The crap you talking about, this Ned Flanders garbage you're trying to sell, it don't fly, dude. It doesn't fly. It doesn't work anywhere. That's the problem.
They don't even need to go and consult their friends about it or think about it or pray about it. They're going to take the former. Okay, they're going to take the cashier. Now, if you give women the same choice, the mild-mannered, unambitious guy working a cash register or the highly paid corporate go-getter, you're going to have a lot more takers for the latter option. A lot more. Now, why is that? Am I saying that most women are greedy gold diggers looking for a rich man to bleed dry? Am I saying that most men are oppressive tyrants looking for some meek, helpless woman they can control? No. No on both counts. I'm saying that men and women are different and they want different things. Okay? A man is not looking for a business partner. He's not looking for someone to provide for him. He wants a wife. He wants a mother for his future children. He wants a helpmate. He wants a woman, not a man. This is not a new phenomenon. Megyn calls this desire of young men a problem that is coming up on the right.
A woman's not looking for a business partner. A man's not looking for a business partner. He's looking for a mate, Matt. He's looking for a wife. So he's just listening to all of us and trying to remix it. He's listening to all of us and trying to remix it, and it won't go well for you, Matt. I mean, it gave you a bit of a retort there, but the first time that somebody gets in studio on the phone with you, they're going to be able to tear you up alive if they know exactly what you're missing there, and you're missing a lot.
But it's not a problem, and it's not coming up. Kim Iverson responded in agreement with Megyn and said that she, quote, doesn't get this trad wife trend. But what she's calling a trend, or what Megyn says is just coming up.
Oh, boy. More of your white females on the internet here letting you know that, hey, fellas, we want to keep our veto power. Megyn Kelly out-earns any man she's been around. She out-earns them. And she said that she was okay with that. I don't know. Can you all imagine getting divorced from Megyn Kelly? Damn! Can you imagine what that would be like if you had to have a divorce from Megyn Kelly? Could you imagine what the court case will be? Remember, she's a lawyer. Remember, Megyn's a lawyer. And you can tell she is the snarkiest, nastiest thing. So if you were filing a lawsuit, she's the kind of lawyer you want because she's got a chip on her shoulder just naturally and has a grudge. But could you imagine if you were on the bad end of her ire and she wanted to divorce you? She will just drag you for years. She will file a new motion every week. She will depose you, even though there's nothing to depose. She will just make it the most excruciating, torturous thing you could possibly imagine. She would be coming to the court skipping. She'd be coming to the court wearing her power suits and smiling. She would buy new shoes for every date. Can you imagine being married to her and being served divorce papers? If you want to have an idea what she thinks of a home, can you imagine what that would be like? scratch out your eyeballs with toothpicks. It would be more comfortable.
Is in fact the norm. It's the way human society has been organized since the dawn of civilization. A young man seeking a woman who will have his children and prioritize raising them and keeping a home is doing the same thing that billions of other young men have done since time immemorial. This traditional approach is not some new fad invented by TikTok influencers, nor is it a far-right conspiracy. It is the way of human civilization. These young men, they want what their grandfathers wanted, and what their grandfathers' grandfathers wanted, and what their grandfathers' grandfathers' grandfathers wanted, and on through the ages. The trend, the fad, the new thing, Megyn, is feminism. However you feel about career women who find their value and purpose in the working world, there's no question.
Now, Matt, because of course, like all the Daily Wire nitwits over there, the Daily Wire dimwits, he's completely out of touch. Actually, men today don't want the exact same thing that their grandfathers and fathers had. See, Matt, you're already screwed up. You're trying to wing this. You're trying to play it by ear. You don't get it. You don't know. You don't understand. Actually, the young men today do not want the exact same thing that their fathers and their grandfathers had. Now, there are similarities. There are similarities between that, but actually there are some other things that they want that Granddaddy and Pappy didn't have. Take a look on their Facebook timelines. Take a look on their Instagram timelines. That ain't grandmama sitting up there. What? When you take a look at the women that they gravitate to and the ones they post about and talk about, that ain't grandma. So the men have a different idea about what it is the baseline that they're actually attracted to and expect. Matt can't say that. Number one, he doesn't know. But number two, he doesn't want to have to actually deal with that, because when he starts trying to talk you out of what you actually want, which is what he's going to try to do, just like Megyn, when he's going to tell you that you're wrong for that and that you should be attracted to a boring little 4 or 6 plain Jane chick, which is why he named the cashier. Remember, let's be very, very clear. When y'all talk about the chick at the drive-thru at Five Guys, when you talk about the girl at the checkout register, you talking about this on the screen right here. This is what you're imagining. You're just imagining her, but wearing one of those outfits. You're imagining her just wearing a McDonald's outfit. You're imagining her just wearing a cashier's outfit. That's what you're thinking about. You're thinking about that. You're not thinking about, what he's thinking about. He's thinking about just a little basic chick somewhere and it's let good enough do. And that's not what you're thinking about at all. At all. Now, if you cannot be honest about that, and if you're not straightforward about that, and if you don't even understand that, that's what he's thinking about when he says the checkout girl is not the same as what the fellas are thinking about. If you have to make a lifelong commitment, if this is going to be the last pair of butt cheeks you ever going to get to grip in your life, this is it. You're standing at the altar and the man, look, bruh, this is going to be the last. Anything else you can look but don't touch. And as a matter of fact, if you look too long, this chick gonna divorce you and take half. Damn! Now, what is a man gonna say? Well, I'll be damned. If this gonna be the last ride, and this gonna be it for the rest of my days. Oh, she needs to be one bad son of a gun. If this gonna be it, I'm cashing in all my damn chips. She got to be a bad mother. If I got to give up all my other options, we got to give up all our other options. Okay, well, she got to be the baddest of the bad. Now, your grandmama could be cute. Today, you got a $400,000 mortgage and a $80,000 car and private school for 3 little bad kids. Oh, she got to be bad. And you're going to give up on top of all that. You're going to work harder than you ever have, longer than you ever have, give up more than you ever had. And in the midst of giving up, you're also going to give up all your other female options. You're going to give up all of those too. You're going to give up all of those for a strong 4?
Nigga, please.
Let me be very, very clear. So I'm going to be pulling a $450,000 mortgage, 2 $80,000 cars, $40,000 a year in private school, clothes, insurance. Then this heifer wants to go on vacation. I got to do all that for a 4? So that's what I've been working all my life for, is to get in the position to do all of that, to give up all of that, to work this hard. And my reward is to be staring Jamie Foxx, what's his name on when he's playing the woman on The Living Color? So that's what I did it for? I'm doing that so I can snuggle up next to Tarana Burke? And she can regale me with her wonderful personality? Thank you, Wanda. Jamie Foxx being Wanda on The Living Color, really? So I did all that work for Wanda. And Matt be sitting right there telling you, look good, that's perfectly fine. She has a great personality. Looks aren't everything. Okay.
That they are the ones doing something new. Feminism sent women out of the home and into cubicles and boardrooms. Feminism convinced many women to desire professional success over and above family and children. And now feminists are angry that men were not reprogrammed along with them. Okay? Men don't want what feminism is selling. You may think they should want it. You may want them to want it, but they don't. They look out and they see that ever since the rise of feminism, divorce rates have skyrocketed, birth rates have plummeted, 60 million babies are dead, and most people are, by every metric, much more miserable. And they don't want that. You cannot make them want it. And getting angry at them for not wanting it is, first of all, fruitless, second, arrogant, third, unfair, and fourth, foolish. Because these young men that Megyn is referring to have an innate desire to be providers. Okay?
Matt, once again, showing how clueless he is, going back to that. They want to be providers. Let's be clear. There's not a single male in here who was in middle school saying, I can't wait to grow up to be a provider. This is the garbage that these folks recycle and circulate. None of you were in middle school or high school talking about, when I grow up, I want to marry a chick with 4 kids by 4 different men.
Nigga, please.
None of us were saying that. None of us were saying, yeah, I can't wait to haul this mortgage and cars because I really want to be a provider. That is not what we were thinking. And for you to sit up here and try to gaslight as if, well, that's what you really meant. Get the hell out of here. That is not what we were looking for. That's not what we meant. And he knows it, which is why he's trying to redefine it. Well, you should want to be providers. Nobody wants to be like you, Matt. There's not a single man in America sitting there talking about, boy, I wish I could be like Matt Walsh. No one is. Not even on your side of the damn fence. Nobody wants to trade places with you or Ben Shapiro. Nobody wants to be in dweeb court. Ridiculous. No, males didn't dream their lives of being providers. They dreamed their lives of being leaders. They dreamed their lives of being stars. And by that, I'm talking about like football, in a leadership position, that you're warriors on the field, that you're proving your mettle. They've never thought to themselves, my ability to pay an electric bill is going to determine my value as a man. That's not what we were thinking. That is something that you understand later, but even still, that's not your goal. Your goal is not to provide for the sake of providing. Your goal is to have a position, and providing is a requisite of that position. And once again, Matt doesn't want to say that because in his world, he has to negotiate. He's got to tell a woman how much money he makes and what he can pay for in order for her to be interested in him. A female just being interested in him for him, especially on a broad basis, that's never happened to him. So that's why he has to go off in all this weird, wacky way of the world he's on now. And that's why he can't speak honestly to the issue. Now, things are going to get dirty here in just a couple of moments, folks.
Okay. That's why they are not especially interested in women who put their careers first. They want to provide. The desire to provide is a noble desire. Even if many of these men will end up splitting the financial load with their wives in some way, still the desire to provide is noble and it should be encouraged, not shamed. It's not sad. There's nothing sad here, Megyn. These young men are experiencing a deep, ancient yearning, a yearning to leave home and find a wife and become one flesh, as the scripture says, and then to have children and carry on their bloodline, and then to go back out into the world on a mission to provide for their family, thereby fulfilling their destiny as men. This desire is primal and timeless. It is not a primal, timeless desire for a colleague or a business partner. It is a desire for a wife, a woman he can provide for and fight for and conquer the world for. And in return...
Okay, Matt, once again, yeah, stupid on top of stupid. You don't even hear yourself. A man doesn't get married to conquer the world. That's what single men do. We've already seen the research and the results of this. It is single men who take tremendous risks, single men who become entrepreneurs and then get married, and then some jackass tries to tell you that married men make more money. When in reality, those single men were already either accomplished it already or they were on that trajectory as single men. Single men take risks. Married men can't. Single men talk. The first thing that Matt Walsh would tell you is you can't go out on Friday nights and you can't go adventuring and you have to take a lot fewer risks. Okay, and then he just told you to conquer the world for it. So he's trying to merge those two things, which of course a liar has to do, or somebody who doesn't have a unified ideology. He's conflicting and refuting himself. Single men who have nothing to lose have no problem facing the world, and if he goes out on his shield, so be it. A man with a woman and children cannot operate that way. Now, Matt isn't even thinking through his own stupid argument here. Excuse me, hey, dummy. A married man with children, you're describing a single man with no children. A married man with children cannot go square off against the world, much less talking about conquering it. He's gonna conquer them diapers and that trash bin. That's what he's gonna conquer the mortgage. That's what he's gonna conquer. You're trying to conflate single men who are hungry, out here getting it, taking a look at the world to size up what part of it they're going to take. You don't get to do that as a married man. You're done. It's too risky. It'll cost you too much. And worst of all, what it costs you is that you will not be, at this point forward, you are not the only one who will be harmed if everything goes bad. When you're single and there's no wife and no kids, if everything goes bad, it all falls on you, and the only person who's going to get hurt maximally is just you. You're a man with a woman and kids. If it all goes bad, the kids get hurt, the woman gets hurt, the kids are going to be traumatized, their futures are going to be messed up. You lose everything. But the everything a married man loses is not the same as what a single man does. Single men conquer the world. Single men build kingdoms. Single men target things to say, I'm taking that, I'm taking that, I'm taking that. Because when you target somebody, they target you, Maddie. 2 brain cells would teach you that, although you're at a handicap. You see, when you talk about conquering the world, please understand there are plenty of other folks out there who want to conquer you. That's the problem with his stupid analogy and his ideology. You can't conquer the world as a man. You don't think about getting a woman and some kids and then conquer the world. You conquer the world first, and then you go get the woman and the kids. Because if you try to conquer anything, somebody else is coming after you. One of the people you tried to conquer, or if you took something and somebody else felt like that should have been theirs, even if they never had the chance to get it, they're upset and angry because they feel like that should have been theirs. And now you got it. Now they're coming for you. That's what it means to conquer the world, Matt. You wouldn't know anything about that. That's what it means to do that. So no. That's a single childless man's ambition, not a man whose priority is getting married. So you screwed up your own analogy. Congratulations, Matt.
In return, he wants out into the world on a mission to provide for their family, thereby fulfilling their destiny as men. This desire is primal and timeless. It is not a primal, timeless desire for a colleague or a business partner. It is a desire for a wife, a woman he can provide for and fight for and conquer the world for. And in return, he wants a woman who will have his children and raise and love them and prioritize them above anything and show him appreciation and respect and affection. That's what young men want. That's what any man wants. And they should be allowed to say that out loud.
Now, there is a component and an aspect there that is missing because, of course, this is Dunson here going at it. They want women who are going to love and nurture their children, and she's going to respect and appreciate him. Well, those things are accurate, but there's a part that he left out because he doesn't know, because it doesn't apply to him. What does it mean to respect him in the context of being mother to his children? You see, you can respect him without children. What is she loving and nurturing your children for? Matt can't tell you. It doesn't apply to him. If you asked him, he would stumble like he's doing right now and can't answer it because he doesn't know. He's left out the word legacy. A man ideally is looking for a female who he says appreciates and respects. I told you all what it is. He doesn't know. The word is admire. You see, when a woman admires you, she wants to replicate you. She doesn't want to just board out a bunch of babies, which is what Matt does. A man who wants to be admired, and you want a woman who is itching and chomping at the bit. Her insides are itching and heating up because she wants to replicate you. She can't wait to go into labor pains so that she can duplicate you, so that she can recreate this wonderful thing that she's found all over again. Now, Matt's never struck a woman in that way. And Mr. Conquer the World didn't even think about that. But ideally, that is what every man is doing. If your home is your castle and your home is your kingdom, then if you're the Lord and the king of that kingdom, what good is that if you are not admired? Doesn't matter if folk like you, if they don't admire you, look up to you, respect you. The things that are both positive and negative, pleasant and unpleasant. And then she says, yes, I want to replicate all of those things. I want to raise up a new generation in this man's image. I want to raise up a new generation in this man's image. That's the part that's missing. That's what motivates a man to give up all of his other options. If he's found the female who, the baddest of the bad, baby, I mean, she got a nicer ass than you, ain't no doubt about it. But she's incompetent and incapable of raising children in my image. She raises stupid boys and whorish daughters. And no man wants to stand in front of bullets, stand in front of knives, stand down the world, take on incredible burdens for a female who fails at the most basic, rudimentary, fundamental thing he is expecting, that she admires him so much that she intends to genetically reproduce him and his hopes and his dreams and his wishes for the world. That's what a man goes into marriage for. That right there. That's why you have a red pill, had a red pill thingy. Because the men realized they were upset about the men that the women used to be with, because you understood that she really liked that guy. Hey, he didn't even have to marry her. She was itching so bad. Let me have some kids by him. Well, you understand what that represents and what that means. Hey, you wanted to join your bloodline with his. That's how deep into him you were. Well, you must have really been digging him. And she was. And you've been saying, hey, I want that. And you can't get that. And that's why these guys have spent a decade now analyzing female behavior, dissecting female behavior, attempting to get their arms around it. These things that seem to be contradictory, in some cases they are, but they actually do serve a purpose. They've been trying to dissect it and master it, while the females have just been sitting back complaining. The men have been sitting back at least trying to dissect it and learn it to figure out why it works. Why are they doing this? What is it we don't understand? How do you deconstruct it? That's what's been motivating them, is they've seen other men getting a level of respect, but more importantly, a level of admiration that you didn't get. And yet that guy didn't have to buy her a house, didn't have to buy her a car, didn't have to buy her a freaking hot dog. And yet she's coming to you and saying all these responsibilities and things you got to do that the men that she actually admired didn't and don't. And that's what you're looking for. That's the part that's missing. That's the part that men are saying, hey, that's a crucial element, and it ain't there. And Matt's trying to tell you it doesn't matter if it's there, or at least he doesn't even realize it's supposed to be there. And in 2025, think about this for a few moments. If Matt Walsh, if he's to be believed that he's been married for 15 years, that means he got married back in 2010. People, he got married after Barack Obama was elected president. He's completely out of touch. And his priorities and his goals ain't yours. And it sounds silly as hell. Men want to be respected, and that's defined as admired. He wants her to look up to him so that when she has children, she ain't just having children because, oh, take a look at us as we've consummated our love. It's supposed to be, I respect this man, I admire this man, and I want to replicate him, literally. To the point that you're going into something that could cost you your life. That's how much getting pregnant means. When a woman gets pregnant, she risks her life. And she's saying it is just that important to me to be able to do that. Matt doesn't understand that. He's never seen it. He's never experienced it. He's never had it. He doesn't know what that's like. But if a female is talking to you about having children and it's not squarely centered on legacy, that there's something that you are doing with your life, that's what she admires about you, and now she wishes to continue that and perpetuate it. Now that all makes sense now, doesn't it? Much better than that flim-flam babble he was talking about. Tripping all over himself and contradicting himself. Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. Hey, ma'am, am I the man that you admire? more than anyone you've ever been with, more than your daddy, more than anyone. If I told you to tattoo my name on the inside of your cervix, what? I said it. Fellas, ideally, you think that's what a man wants. You want to be that dude. You want to be the dude that if you told her to go stand in the middle of the street on her eyelashes, she'd be out there doing it. Yeah, that's the one right there. You're like, okay, she's all in. She's all in. You want the female who wears your shirts, the female who wears your pants, the female who wears your clothes, the female who wants to drive your car. You bought her a car and she's still trying to drive yours. That's the one you want. That's what men are looking for today. Back to that passion component. Because you see, if she's not passionate about you, she don't give a damn about raising kids to be like you. She's just having kids. She doesn't want to make them into replicas of you. She doesn't sit up here and say, hey, I am his number one fan and I've given birth to all of you so that you can become like him because I'm his number one fan and you are here to replicate that. If that component is missing, the fellas are like, okay, waiter, check, please. That's what went bad.
Okay, men are allowed to talk about what they want and what they need in relationships. But the problem is that every time a man talks about that, you've got women like Megyn Kelly who get upset about it. They get angry. They get like, how dare men have any needs, have anything that they want in any of this? Almost every young man wants this until our feminist matriarchal society beats it out of him or convinces him that he can never have it. He can never have the thing that his grandfather had and that his grandfather's grandfathers had and his grandfather's grandfathers had and on and on and on. So if you want to know why so many young men are demoralized and depressed and broken, it's because for their whole lives, they've been told that what they want down at the deepest level of their soul, they should not want and they cannot have. Every man before them in history could have it, but not them. We're too enlightened for that now. The feminists took over and they know better. They know better than our ancestors knew. They know better than the combined wisdom of all human history. That's the message that these young men hear. You want to talk about sad, Megyn? That's sad. That is a tragedy of catastrophic proportions. There's nothing wrong with what these young men want. There is something very wrong with the culture that tells them they shouldn't want it. And that is why Megyn Kelly is today, sadly, canceled.
Did he say that Megyn Kelly is canceled?
The culture that tells them they shouldn't want it. And that is why Megyn Kelly is today, sadly, canceled.
Okay, I thought that's what I heard. I think I told you all. By the way, before this is over, Matt's going to literally say that she's canceled. Oh, yeah. By the way, aren't these the people who told everybody that, oh, we're done with cancel culture, identity politics? As soon as they all feel like they're in power, first order of business, cancel identity politics. Boy. Have you ever seen such a group of disingenuous, honest lackey lowlives? Yes, sir, we don't need identity politics unless it favors me as a white woman. We need to stop all this cancel culture unless me as a white man wants to use it. Oh, boy. Yes, sir, folks, I didn't just bring receipts. I brought invoices. I didn't tell you what you paid. I tell you what you owe. I didn't just tell you what you paid. I tell you what you owe. So what's the issue here? The issue is plain and simple. You're not qualified to speak on this. You're not qualified to talk on this. You're late to the party. You have no credibility. Everybody's jumping on Matt and Megyn. They're not taking Matt's side. They're jumping on Matt and Megyn because they realize that he's been a dishonest broker too. You're not qualified to speak on these things. Folks who go around throwing these labels around, they make these labels and make these terms so that they can box you off in a corner and tell you what it is that you should want, or what it is that you should expect, or what it is that you should prefer. Because they have some social agenda that they're trying to push. I'm totally different about that. I don't discuss dating. I'm not interested in that. I discuss power dynamics. And what I say is that, okay, as a man, if there is something that you want, if there's something that you're looking to have, if there's a situation that you're looking to have, well, then you can do that. But there's certain channels you have to go through, and you're going to have to do certain things to qualify for that. Now they're sitting over here trying to tell you all in this lane about what it is that young men today expect from a guy who ain't even on the damn field. Matt Walsh is not having to pick a wife from this pack out here today. Matt Walsh does not have to filter through them. He's not making any choices whatsoever. Furthermore, neither is Megyn Kelly. She's not choosing among the men out there. So you have folks who are not on the field. They're not having to make a choice. They're not presented with options. People who, for all intents and purposes, gave up a long time ago. By the way, another thing is, folks always want to sit up here. They get upset when I pull these things out, and they're like, oh, Jason, how do you talk about marriage? Here's my thing. I don't listen to married folk unless I would want to be married to the type of person you with. I have no desire to listen to you give me marriage advice if you're not married to the kind of woman that I would want to be with. Why in the hell would I listen to you? That's the element that's missing. There's a whole bunch of folks out there who've been waiting for their YouTube careers to pop off, and it ain't never gonna happen for you. You want to know who the lowest rated, lowest counted people are when it comes to the space of relationship talk? The married ones. Your channels ain't never going to work. It ain't never going to lift off for you. It's never going to happen. Sit down. No one's going to take advice from you because the only way they would listen to you is if you presented your spouse and they said, wow, I wish I could be with someone like that. Tell me more. When you all march them out, it's nothing but Barnum and Bailey and the damn Ringling Brothers. People break out laughing, either in your faces or behind your backs. And that's the reason it doesn't work. It can't work. Last time we had anything even remotely close to that was Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, because you could see who he was married to and you could see who she was married to. So they got credibility. Everybody else out here is just faking and wishing they damn way through it. It doesn't work. It can't. No one's going to listen to you, even under the best of circumstances, even if you recite and regurgitate all the red pill manosphere talking points that you can cram through in one evening of watching videos, Matty boy. No one's going to listen to you because that's the credibility part that's missing. The men would have to want to be like you, and they would have to want the kind of woman that you're married to in order to take your advice seriously, in order to take your positions seriously. So they're not agreeing with you, you're just agreeing with them. So some of the folks out there who want to know why it is and hasn't worked for you and why it won't work for you because it can't work for you, now you know why. And on the other side of the equation there, it's not going to work for you either, Megyn. It's not going to work for you either, ma'am. Let me tell you, you can get together with all the bleach blonde girl power bosses you want to. All you're going to do is find yourself back in the same doghouse you were in back in 2021. I recommend you back off of this because just like they turned on you 8 years ago, they're going to turn on you again if you keep this up. So, friendly word of advice, which of course you won't listen to because you're phony. You've been waiting all this time to bare your fangs because the truth of the matter is you really do think that you should be the woman running it. Oh, in reality, she really does believe that. Megyn Kelly has gotten together with a bunch of other chicks and she meant what she said. She thinks the women should be running it. She thinks that the only problem with traditional conservative, right-wing conservative, alt-right conservative, the only problem is that you won't do the obvious and let the women run it. That's the only error that she sees them making. Why is it that you won't do the obvious and put a woman in charge? And so she's going to try to sell this and softball it in. And the truth of the matter is she's not going to back down. Please mark my words. She's not going to back down. She's been waiting and sitting on this for years. She has been waiting to call the men out for years. She's carrying a huge grudge and a huge chip on her shoulder. And she's been waiting for years to call them out and tell them to their faces what she actually thinks of them. And it ain't good. And it ain't good. The other part of this, though, is that this whole damn mess is not going to work. It's not going to work because it cannot work. It can't work for any of them doing it because nobody is talking about what it means to be practical and no one's talking about what it is that people actually want. On the one side, you do have some of the folks who play at it a bit, like Rollo and the dudes, but here's the issue. I'm just going to say this to you all tonight. Now, the rest of the manosphere and the red pill folk, they're going to go chasing after this next week like they always do. Every time I do something, they try to put their own little spin on it and try to reword it and remix it up so they can try to claim, make it seem like they didn't get it from the source. And you know you did, which is why I keep calling you all out on it. Folks, a man becoming the best version of himself has absolutely, positively not a damnable thing to do with marriage.
And deal with it, nigga.
This idea that you're going to define what a man should do by, quote, your grandfathers and fathers, that the whole point of a man becoming gainfully employed, excellent at what he does, high income, is so that he can go take that to a woman. Now, this is where you're wrong. Hey, Maddie the moron. This is where you're wrong, because in so many other areas. But this is something that a simpleton like you can wrap that little pea brain around. You don't like to hear me say what I just said because what I'm telling you is that when a man starts from a position of the world focused on him, when you want to talk about mental point of origin, if you are the mental point of origin, then you cannot begin from the standpoint of I am here for a woman and children. A man's chief priority is his purpose in this world, Matty boy. A man's chief responsibility is his purpose in this world. Even if he never has children, he owes something to the society, to the people, to the nation that he's a member of. He owes something to them, even if he never has offspring. He belongs to the people. So that is why that standing in front of bullets thing extends beyond just his immediate family. A woman will have children. Well, she's supposed to only have children for the man she's married to. But a man stands in front of bullets for his woman and his children and for his nation and for his city and his state. For perfect strangers. Oh, so all of these red pill, tradcon, Daily Wire dunces, Fox News idiots, what, none of them ever said what you just heard tonight. And it makes perfect sense. Why has everyone been so scared to say it before now? Because they didn't know. Because what they've done is remix the Bible and try to put their own secular spin on it. And what I'm saying is, well, a man's purpose begins first, and a man's is first and foremost tied to his purpose. Everyone else is a beneficiary of his purpose. If a man does not get firmly rooted in what his purpose is, everything else suffers. Everything. So when someone sits up here and tries to deceive you into thinking that your goal of going to college is, well, one day you're going to get a wife and kids, well, maybe you will, maybe you won't. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. Maybe so, maybe not. But that's not the real issue. The real issue is understanding that, by the way, first and foremost, you owe that excellence to yourself. First and foremost, you owe that to yourself. In the chat room, Blebly, so very glad that you said that there. So glad that you weighed in on that. It's Friday night and the feeling is right. So let me go ahead and throw this up here for you. We'll go ahead and give you a couple of minutes to go ahead and give us a call so that you can pontificate more on this. Be very glad to hear that. Be very glad to hear it. You have 2 minutes there. Let me go ahead and pin that to the top of the Zoom. So in the chat room, Blebly, so glad that you've weighed in on it here tonight. We'll give you a couple of minutes to go ahead and hit us up on Zoom. And by the way, for everyone else out there, just like Blebly, perhaps you disagree. Therefore, the link for the Zoom is at the top of the chat room there. You can go ahead and hit it so you can call up and speak to the host directly, something that Megyn Kelly, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, your favorite YouTubers, none of them do. This is a lost art here today, folks. You have I can't even really think of anybody of any real relevance who actually takes calls. I can't think of anybody of any real relevance who hosts a program and then opens it up so the general public can call in. Can't think of one. Can't think of one. But then again, that's because folks are here to sell you something. And they're scared to death that if there's actually a public forum where somebody can directly question exactly what they just heard, yeah, a lot of folks are dunces, but there may be somebody intelligent in there who could actually identify where your deficiency is. And now you're going to publicly be called out on it. Well, if there's a deficiency there, by all means, okay, what we're going to do here is we're going to give you 2 more minutes here, Blebly. You're commenting in the chat room, so you're done commenting. Everything else you say will be on Zoom, so you can speak to everyone directly. So you are no longer allowed in the chat room until you go ahead and call. And if you can't, just understand that when you're told to call in and you don't, that debunks you right there. But of course, that's the great thing about having the internet today. This idea that you're legitimate with a one-way conversation. Megyn Kelly's not legitimate. It's a one-way conversation. She could very easily be debunked by somebody with some sense. She does, which is why specifically she doesn't allow it. They bring on people who only agree with them. If they do bring on someone who doesn't agree with them, they make sure there's somebody who's only half the IQ, and which really means the room is dropped into basically freezing water temperature. And that's what's been missing from these things. Or else they all just get together and talk to each other. And they're all horribly wrong. Let's be very, very clear. Ain't nobody sitting around trying to figure out how to take woman advice from Ben Damn Shapiro, the squeaky mouse of the alt-right. Nobody's listening to him, not even on the alt-right side. They have a lot more in common with what I'm talking about here. They identify with a lot more here. And the folks on their side would get a lot further along if they said it like this, because this is what they're really looking for. You wouldn't be worried about where she been if you felt like you were the dominant power. But how do you gauge it? How do you measure it? I've told you how. If you're the man she admires and looks up to, and you can, the problem is admiration is a non-verbal activity. Admiration is non-verbal. Admiration is a non-verbal activity. If you don't do that, it doesn't work. If you don't do that, it doesn't work. So you don't have to ask a woman if she admires you. You don't have to ask that. You can see in her eyes, you can see in her face, she doesn't have to say anything to you. She doesn't have to say anything to you. That's what gets your problem there. That's what gets you in trouble. It gets you in trouble when you see that occur. Because you've seen that look on her face. See, that's what's upset. This is why you have young men upset about it. Matt Walsh can't talk to high school kids or college young men. He can't talk to them because they're what they can't articulate. And listening to the red pill morons out there, they can't articulate it. What's the problem that you have? What's the problem with the dudes at the party? What's the problem with the dope boys? Why is it that bothers you? Because you understand dominance and admiration when you see it. And you were told by your mammy and your daddy that being an A student is what they should be admiring. And you've been looking to see if you ever get that look in their eyes directed toward you. That's what you've been waiting for. It doesn't require talk, conversation. A woman can communicate to you if she admires you simply by looking at you, how she stands. Holding her hands together. She's looking all shy and meepish. Not a word needs to be said. That's what young men are looking for. Because they've seen her point that towards other men. They've seen her manifest that with other men. And he's like, okay, if I ain't got that, then I don't have her everything. I was reading an article that was talking about the increase in marriages during the pandemic. They're getting numbers in there saying that during the pandemic, marriage numbers went up. But the real problem there is, did you realize what happened? As soon as there is uncertainty in society, marriage rates always tend to go up when there's uncertainty, when folks don't know what's going to happen. The problem is that no man can be proud to say he's married when he knows he's a bailout plan. So mark my words. Just like you saw the numbers, they didn't go up, they just stabilized. You're going to see them start to go down again when folks start feeling safe again, and the threats that push them into it, they feel like they're safe from them. So there's, okay, back to the nonsense. Back to the foolishness. A man wants to see the female get giggly, get girly, and I don't mean in a goofy ass fashion. Something that you'll never see from Megyn Kelly, you'll never see this from her. Fawning. Damn! All right, for those of you watching live or recorded, you can do this later. Your assignment, and you've heard me use this word before, is to look up the word fawning, F-A-W-N. That is a critical, crucial, non-verbal communication and gesture that lets a man know, I got you. I got her. she's locked in. Whatever I say the program is, she's locked in for it. When a female is fawning, a man knows that's the cue, that's the key. All the doors just opened. All of them. ALL. All the doors just opened. When we see you all sitting there like Bambi's girl in the movie Bambi, when you sitting there looking like that, it's like, oh, we got you. We got you. She doesn't have to tell you that you got her. You can see she got you. She's locking eyes with you. She can't take her eyes off of you. She's staring at you even when you're not looking in her direction. You know that I feel somebody's eyes on me thing? Yeah, that right there. That right there. When you can feel that she's watching you, it's like you ain't looked at her in 20, 30 minutes and you can feel that she's staring at you the whole time. I got you. Well, yeah, I mean, if she looks right and talks right and she's fawning, this is how you get dumb fools to go sprinting down the damn aisle. That's how you get them sprinting down the aisle, because he's like, I'll be damned, she's all in. I got her, she's all in. That's the ingredient that's been missing. Women fawn over men that they admire. They fawn over men that they can't wait to procreate with. They fawn over men when she's repeating your words. If it is verbal communication, she's repeating your words. She's agreeable. She's not argumentative. She's looking to be compatible. She's looking to lock in. She wants to know everything you think, everything you say, so that she can become the female version of you. Matt didn't say none of that. Damn! Did anybody notice that, by the way? Hey, Matt didn't say none of that. Neither did Megyn. Okay, well, that's what the young men today are missing. That's what they're looking for. When the young men you're talking about today in their late teens and early 20s talk about a traditional wife, they're talking about that part. They're talking about that part right there. That Matt talking about respect and appreciated. Yeah, but that doesn't mean you're admired. You see, it goes beyond that. This is the part they don't want to talk about. The young men today are not playing the games that their fathers and grandfathers played. Oh, hell, I'll be damned. Y'all didn't think I was going to go there. Oh, hell, yes, I am. The young men today are not playing the game that their grandfathers and fathers played. That baby boomer generation has screwed up every damn thing. The young men today are not playing that game. They're not looking for that garbage. The males of the baby boomer generation, they were all right. Grabbing the little single mom down the street and stuff. And, if nobody else wanted him, they were okay with that. And everything that came with it. But then again, they were not taking your passports and your driver's license if you didn't pay child support back then. Back then, you didn't pay child support and she was stuck getting on welfare. Today, that's a crime. Not paying child support today is a crime. So, the young men today are not looking for what their daddy had. The young men today are not looking for a chick who's just aight with him. They're not looking for a female who's settled for him. They're not attracted to a female who makes it nakedly obvious that you are her second best option. And then she's like, okay, let's get this $450,000 mortgage popping. Think about that for a few moments. No wonder what they're saying is not resonating. And it can't, because they're not speaking to what you actually want. Your grandfather and your father, listen very carefully, because here's the part right here that makes folk upset. Matty Boy will be scribbling down furiously, but then he's going to start cringing in the corner, as cowards will do. Men today are looking for dominance. Damn! Oh, I said it. Men today are looking for dominance. Your grandfather and your father weren't looking for that. Please understand, the world has changed. So let me take this as my opportunity to explain to you all exactly what has changed about it. When your grandfather was coming up, let me see if I actually got the thing here to go in. Yeah, let me go ahead and show that to you here right quick. We covered this before, but let me go ahead and take this as an opportunity to show it to you again. Your grandfather didn't consider it to be a requirement, a requisite, that he at least be in the realm of Charles Atlas. Bodybuilding, muscle tone, that wasn't a requirement for your grandfather. Your grandfather could look any old kind of way and he was going to marry something and be among the men. It's a whole different world today. You didn't have fitness gyms nationwide, whether folks use them or not. You didn't have that nationwide when your father was coming up. That's something that kicked off in the 80s. That's something that didn't start until the 80s. So in the last 4 decades, you have seen the rise of fitness culture and muscle culture as a man, that we gauge your masculinity based on how much muscle you have. That's something for the last 4 decades, not the last 5,000 years, Matty the moron. Nobody was thinking about that back then. Men were not gauging other men by that back then. And females weren't gauging it either. Today, it's a requisite, it's a requirement, it's a must. Or at least you are being compared based on it. When you asked your father and your grandfather who their heroes were, who they talk about, Howdy Doody, John Wayne, Superfly. Okay, that's not who they name today. When you ask them today, it's going to be a professional athlete. He's going to be muscular. A movie star, he's going to be muscular. WWE wrestler, he's going to be muscular. That's the standard now. It's not because of steroids. The steroids are a result of the men's mentality changing. The steroids did not create the change. The men changed, and the steroids were simply something that helped in that metamorphosis. The men have different standards of themselves now. They have different standards of themselves and the world and what they expect from themselves at a basic level. Your grandfather and your daddy weren't thinking like this. Your grandfather and your daddy couldn't figure out why it is you want to have a Dodge Demon. Why do you need that? Why do you need an Escalade? Why do you need that? That thing's too big. Because you understand that when you've got 900 horsepower, you're dominant. And you understand that when you've got 43 cubic feet of cargo space, you're dominant. That's what you understand. You don't just want to be good. Men today don't just want to be good. They don't want to just excel. They want to be dominant. That is the cost that they're looking to pay, because they know what comes on the other side of that it was supposed to be. So whether it's physically, mentally, financially, spiritually, socially, everything needs to match. And these other folks are too timid and scared and dishonest, for of course they don't even know, to talk about dominance. That is what the men are looking for. That's why so many males go around putting tattoos on themselves. They're trying to signify that. They're trying to. They're trying to show that they understand it. They're trying to. They don't just want to be a part of a woman's life. He wants to know that he is the most dominant thing ever. That's what he's looking for. You want to know what makes him unhappy and have regret? When she lets him know that you're not the most dominant thing. You're not the most dominant person. You haven't erased everybody else. I don't look up to you. You are not the standard by which all others will be judged. That's why you have a red pill movement. A bunch of young men who are trying to figure out, well, how do I get that reaction so that this is worth me going into if I'm going to make a lifelong decision? How do I get that reaction so I know that this is worth it? Because if you're going to do something like that, you can't do it wondering or guessing. You have to know. You have to be certain. And yet when we sit down and talk to you, we don't discuss dominance except in the aspect of sports. So once again, we've relegated that to the professional field. And what I'm saying is that no, a man needs to be seeking dominance in all aspects of his life. You cannot be comfortable otherwise. How can you be secure and not dominant? It doesn't work that way. Because you know, if you immediately, intrinsically, primally, you understand that if you are standing next to a fellow who's bigger and more muscular than you, you are vulnerable. Maybe he's a threat, maybe he isn't, but the bottom line is if he's formidable and you are not, you understand this is a threat. And I'm not prepared for it. When you're a grown man and you're 98 pounds soaking wet, you understand this is a threat and I'm not prepared. You're in a dangerous spot and you're not ready. It also goes beyond that. Who people will expect, listen very carefully, Maddie, and all the other red pill guys listening begrudgingly right now. They're resentful, but they're sitting there like this down. They hate this nigga. Let me write this down. People will not accept you as their leader if you are not dominant. Matt Walsh is trying to give you an instruction manual for being a provider. In other words, you will leverage your willingness and ability to pay bills and stand in front of bullets for female companionship and hopefully a peck on the cheek from your kids. So he wants to negotiate based on what you can bring in the front door as opposed to what you are. When you are dominant, people accept you as their leader, not just their provider. Let me tell y'all something. Anybody can provide your woman with a car. What? So you can't stake your claim on provision as being your chief asset. You can't do that. Not outside of its proper context. When all you are or your primary function is provider in the sense of paying bills, then what you're doing is negotiating that. But that doesn't make you dominant. And that doesn't mean that they accept you as their leader. They accept you as the provider. That's what makes so many men resentful. Because one day he wakes up and realizes the children don't revere him. The woman doesn't admire him. They don't see you as their leader because they look at other men who are more dominant than you. That's where it all falls apart. When they have concrete proof that there is somebody more dominant than you, it's over. This is why a physical fist fight is such a damn threat for a man. This is something that females don't have to worry about. A physical confrontation is a threat to a man. You want to know why it is that physical confrontations among men so often end in somebody dying? It is because if you are the man who loses the fight, you don't just lose the fight. You lose everything. You lose the respect and admiration of your woman, of your children. They've just gotten concrete proof and confirmation that there is a man more dominant than you. And that's just the bottom line. You don't have to like it. It's very unnerving to you. Makes you very uncomfortable. Oh well. When you are in a situation where it is proven beyond the shadow of all doubt that there is somebody more dominant than you, you have just lost the respect and admiration of your women and children. I don't care how much they tell you, oh, that's all right, daddy. You can't win them all. You got your ass whooped, but that's all right. You know that's not right. You know that is not right. You know it doesn't work that way. You know why you know it doesn't work that way? Because if you whoop the dog snot out of the other fella and his female had to load his two black eyes up in the car, you know full damn well the conversation when he gets home is not going to be, oh, baby, that's all right that you got your ass whooped on and stomped on like the Millie Rock. Damn! And you know that if she does say that to him, you know she lying. So if you whoop the other dude and his woman said that to him, you would know she's lying. Okay, then if your woman says it to you, you know she's lying. You know she is. So that is why, as a man, it is not enough to be good. You know that's hanging in the background. That threat is always staying there. The worst position to be in is a financial commercial transaction where you're trading your labor and your income for, quote, respect. Let me tell you something. It manifests itself in so many different ways, people. You're on the freeway. Oh, let me go ahead and break this down to you. You're on the freeway. You want to know why it is you want that V8? Because just in case you're stuck behind somebody's Winnebago, just in case you're stuck behind somebody's Buick, just in case blue hair is driving in your lane. Your woman wants to hear that engine open up and you zoom around them. It will register to her if you are following behind little old ladies on the freeway and you're sucking up their exhaust smoke. That's registering. But when you got a big monstrous vehicle and a big monstrous engine and you put your foot on the gas and the exhaust starts humming, that's dominance. That you don't have to bow down to anybody in any lane. You don't have to bow down to any 18-wheeler, any Winnebago, any minivan, any crossover. You don't have to bow down to anybody. Now, that's nonverbal communication. And I'm not saying drive like an idiot, because that just shows you're stupid. But that does not mean that you have to sit up here and let other folks set the pace for you. That registers. That's just one example. But you can't deny that that's a real thing. You want something different than your father and your grandfather wanted. Matt can't speak to you. You want something different. You want something else. You want something more. Let's be clear today. Your granddaddy, his car was nowhere near the caliber of yours. Your father, nowhere near the caliber of yours. A 1974 Dodge Charger simply cannot be compared to a 2025 Dodge Charger. You cannot compare the two. And I've driven both. There's simply no comparison. The Dodge Charger of 1974 was cool for its day. It is simply irrelevant today. No disrespect. 50-year-old car. It's irrelevant today. It's a nice antique. It's a nice piece of nostalgia, but you simply cannot compare it to a Hemi-headed beast. You simply can't. We won't even get into Hellcats. You can't compare it to a base model. You don't want what your grandfather wanted, even if I could offer it to you. There's no one in here who would trade in a 2025 Dodge Charger Hellcat for a 1974. You wouldn't do it. I don't care how much cool you think retro is. If I told you I'm going to take the keys to your 2025 and give you the keys of this 1974, you'll be ready to start a fist fight. Anybody who says they'd like a 70s Charger instead of today's Charger because of reliability, quote, reliability, you obviously never owned a 70s Charger. So there's that, you know. Just saying. In any case, you want more than your father and your grandfather did. You want more than them. You don't want the same as them. You don't want what they had. You want more. And if you don't want more, then your frustration is very, very understandable. Your frustration is understandable. Nobody wants a 62 Impala as their only means of transportation. Let's stop here, folks. You like to have it as an extra weekend project. You would not trade in the car you drive today for something from the 60s or 70s as your daily driver. The first time you do y'all realize how long it takes for a 67 Impala to go from 0 to 60? Damn! Clearly, I'm old enough to remember having one. Clearly, for those of you who just watch this stuff on YouTube or just remember 1990s rap videos from Dr. Dre and the West Coast, clearly you don't understand why the 0 to 60 thing became a thing in the 90s. You might want to go look up those 0 to 60 numbers because you're used to driving today's cars and you telling yourself, I'm sure this carburetor can do that. And you putting your foot on the damn gas and you're like, okay, this thing kind of just creep off the line, don't it? So as far as fantasy is concerned, okay, that's something you can fantasize about. If you haven't actually driven one or you're not old enough to remember, come on, folks. Just go take a look at the 0 to 60 times. In any case, no, none of you are going to trade in anything on the lot today for a 50-year-old car as your only means of transportation. No, you won't. First time you got to roll up them windows with your hands and put in that 8-track cassette player. Damn! First time you got to do that. If you got power steering. Your car has 2 speakers, 4 if it's really fancy. Some of y'all need to go back and watch some of those movies from the 70s. Folks need to grow up. Go watch The French Connection or Bullet. And those were the muscle cars of their era. Great chase scenes, don't get me wrong, but go watch The French Connection or Bullet or The Italian Job or The Blues Brothers. Great chase scenes, don't get me wrong, but let's not be silly here. Go take a look at the muscle cars of their day. I'm talking about those are the souped up ones. And it's like, man, okay. Do you see how that thing is handling? Do you see how that thing is handling? Come on now. In any case, you want more, you want better, because you have to. There's more out there. And as a man, you want that feeling of dominance. There's more out there for that. And if nobody is speaking to that part of you, and if no one's appealing to that, then you get stuck in basement conversations about being a provider. You get stuck in that with nobody talking about what you really want. Let's be very, very clear. Your grandfather was just happy if a female, back then we didn't have a bunch of obese chicks, so standards were different. What they had to choose from was a bit different, but let's just keep it real. What your grandfather and your father considered to be a 8 is not what you consider to be an 8 today. And if you gonna have to be hauling a $450,000 mortgage, I was looking on Google today. It said the median mortgage payment today is $2,200. What? The median home mortgage today is $2,200, and that's not counting insurance, taxes, HOA fees. That's not counting that. That's just to pay for your house. Okay, well, if you're going to have to lug that payment for 3 decades, some of y'all will do it for a strong foe. Some of you will. Don't even lie. Some of you will go haul all that. And, well, you know what I mean? Me and Tarant are getting along. Okay. I'm just saying. You're not motivated to do that for a strong foe. You're not motivated to do that. That doesn't make you hop out of bed and let's go ahead and get to it. That doesn't make the commute any less stressful. You're not trying to figure out how to double your income. Do you really want to have kids with her? Damn! I mean, all of this is in place and nobody's talking about that. So the traditional conservative civil war was already going. I told everybody about that before. It was already going. They were already going at each other. It was already happening because it couldn't help but to happen, because this is not a gender issue. This is a generational issue, not a gender one. Megyn and Matt are on the wrong side. She's wrong, and so is he. He's criticizing what she's saying, but he's not really speaking to what you want either. He's coming close, but just understand your frustration comes from people coming close, but not actually giving you what you want. You wanted steak. They brought you a hamburger. They both got beef. Well, okay. No, there's what you actually want. And if you're going to be on the hook for things for hundreds of thousands of dollars for the rest of your life, you want to have exactly what you want. That's what you're going to commit to. Exactly what you want. Also, one other thing that Matt didn't want to get into, because liars like Matt Walsh, and even for those of you who might be fans, I got white members of the audience here. Once again, for those of you who might be fans of his, there's a reason why liars like him can't make it. Matt doesn't want to discuss the divorce element of the career woman.
Damn!
Matt doesn't want to discuss that part. That if you're with a woman who values her career, she's really just gearing herself up to make ease of divorce simpler for herself. Fighting over the children is a lot easier when you've got a financial base of your own with which to plot against him. It's one thing to fight a woman who's a stay-at-home wife. It's another thing to fight one who's got resources of her own and ideas of her own. You're trying to talk about raising the kids in your image. Meanwhile, the career woman is sitting up here talking about, why can't we raise the kids in our image? Matt didn't say this because he doesn't know. But by the way, I just dropped another bombshell on you. The problem with the career chick is that she has her own ideas about the world, and she has, as epitomized by Megyn Kelly herself, she wants to be dominant. So if she has children, she describes them as my children. She doesn't say our children, she says my children or the children. But she never describes them as your children. So this is not simply a matter of gender, this is a matter of generational. This used to not be an argument. But then again, the women were not looking to be dominant competitors. And a dominant competitor is going to use everything at their disposal, including cutting the cord with you. That's what'll happen. That's what'll happen. Now, once that occurs, just understand you find yourself behind the 8 ball. You're going to find yourself behind the 8 ball, and did they actually explain to you what the problem was? I don't know if gender roles are making a comeback. I don't know if that's the case. I think that's premature to say that. I think a lot of people are about to get took, and a lot of people are about to get fooled because the men want to believe that they're winning. They want to believe that they're further along than they are. I'm telling you, saying these things among men is not as controversial as it used to be. Getting the women to accept it is totally different. It's one thing for you as men to say it, and a lot of females have learned to just nod their heads or to repeat those talking points. It's a whole different thing to get the women to genuinely accept this. That's the part that's going to fool a lot of people. A lot of guys are going to wind up getting suckered off into situations, suckered off into marriages, suckered off into child support, because they were with females who listened to what men said online and learned to camouflage themselves and present themselves in a more pleasing package just long enough to get your ass over the finish line. And then once she's got you there, it's the bait and switch. It's going to be a lot of guys I'm predicting over the next 10, 20 years. They're going to get took by that because the women have been saturated and inundated with it, but you haven't actually checked to see whether they genuinely accept it or whether they're saying it because they know this is what's expected and this is the easiest path of progress. That's the problem. Most men are so desperate to be told what they want to hear that they're not actually looking to see, do the females talk like this among themselves? Are the females talking about what you all are talking about among themselves? Why don't you go on their pages? Why don't you go in their groups? They're not talking about these things among themselves. So you can't say that anything has changed until you see the women talking to the women about this. The women are talking to each other about getting a job, being career chicks, boss babes, boss chicks, soft life. Soft life means male exploitation. Soft life is a euphemism for male exploitation. Soft life for the female, hard as hell life for the men. And that a man's function is to sacrifice so that she can live her Instagram fantasy, her Instagram leisure girl fantasy at your expense, your tremendous expense. And they don't talk about that. Show me the female circles where the females are saying, hey, we need to pull the equal load. We have to be worthy of that. That doesn't happen. When the women get together, it is straight. These dudes ain't nothing. If I gotta do any work, I might as well stay single. Manifest. Oh yeah, one more thing. About that manifesting thing. See, that's a young female thing right there. You're talking about what the young males are talking about? That manifesting thing is a young female thing. Have you all noticed on Instagram when you see females posting about what they manifest, do you notice that a man is never part of it?
What? Damn!
Did anybody here notice that when females post up about their manifesting fantasies, when they post up that stuff on Instagram, when they like it, when they share it, this is my dream, my goals, did you notice that she's always driving the car either by herself or she's driving it with her girlfriends? Did you ever notice that? She doesn't manifest a man. She manifests the things she expects a man to provide and give to her because she ain't gonna do it. But they don't manifest you. Oh boy. That'll ruin your weekend for you. Are you actually looking at what women do? Or are you just listening to what they say? And if they change what they say in order to mirror you because they want you to drop your defenses, because please understand, women are listening. They are listening to male content. They're listening and hearing all of this. And a lot of them are saying, well, I can buy into it as much as it gets him to do what I want him to do. So if this is what I have to do to present a certain way, then if that gets him to drop his defenses, so be it. You know, that's what I'm saying. A lot of fellas' standards and their amount of vigilance is so low that if the females simply repeat the stuff you've heard, that's enough to get you to drop your guard. Are you actually looking at how she lives her life, looking at what she likes, looking at what's in her phone? What is she playing? What does she talk to her female friends about? Are you looking at that? Or are you just listening to what she told you? You'll know that the gender roles are truly reversing when you see the women talking to the women about this. Right now, that's not happening. Every single time you get 3 females in a room, they start talking about what the men need to change. And when you bring up what it is the men want, they universally say, no, you shouldn't want that. These men are wrong. It doesn't matter whether she's so-called liberal progressive or right-wing conservative. She's not looking to be your second mate. In the chat room, one of the things I want men to fundamentally rethink is marriage, period. I want men to fundamentally rethink marriage, period. I do not want men to fundamentally rethink their purpose, although that probably needs to come into play too, because men have gotten deluded into thinking their purpose is a woman. And according to Matt Walsh, that's what it should be. Men need to be focused on making sure that they're the excellent, most ultimate version of themselves. Men need to remove marriage as a life goal. Now, that does not mean that you shouldn't want children at some point. That's a natural biological thing. But what I'm saying is that people are using that against you. You have a bunch of clowns and idiots out there in their ideological political spectrums who are using that against you. Now, please understand something here. Women are so serious. Women became so serious about robbing men of any sort of leverage or any sort of authority that they made it legal to kill their children.
Nigga, please.
I need you to understand that while you're sitting up here listening to Matt the Moron Walsh. Because this is the part of the equation he won't talk about because he can't, because it destroys everything else he wants to say. They were so serious about that anything that they, quote, could control, that you could take authority from men over. Now, we'll give men responsibility for the children, but he doesn't have any authority over whether or not they're given birth. Now, that's how serious females have become about robbing men of any authority or any options. And what I'm saying is that for men, things have changed. You cannot want what your grandfather and your father wanted. It leaves you completely helpless and vulnerable. And crap tubers like Matt the Moron will sit up here and give his sales pitch for a situation that he's not even in, and you don't want to know if you want to be in his situation. So that means it doesn't apply to you. As men, everybody is saying that the men need to go to marriage. The men need to chase marriage. The men need to be about marriage. Then what that means is that the men need to say, we are putting a universal pause on prioritizing marriage until the rest of the society gets its head straight. But you're not going to tell us that we have to make marriage the priority and nobody else is going to prioritize it as much as you're going to try to demand we do it. Everybody else gets to bail out. Everybody else can be half in. Everybody else can be plotting to mount a coup against us while you're walking down the aisle. Okay, so if people want to weaponize childbirth, then men need to understand you need to guard marriage. Since the risks involved have exploded exponentially, your requirements need to equally evolve and elevate exponentially. Men need to normalize having companions. What? I mentioned this last week. You see, most males are so shell-shocked because they were raised by single moms. And can you admit that after 5 decades of the contaminant and pollution of single motherhood, most of you were raised by women who told you you were not a good man if you weren't kissing a woman's ass and, quote, taking care of a woman? Where did you pick up that idea in a society that does not respect and revere you as a man? There's only one place you could have gotten that from. There was a woman who told you that you're not a good man if you don't prioritize taking care of a woman and some children. No matter what the circumstances are, you are not complete without them. Now, you notice they never tell the daughters that? Damn! Nobody tells the daughters she's not complete without a man. Their Facebook groups show you that. Their YouTube pages show you that. Their Instagram shows you that. They never say you're not complete without a man. Everyone concentrates their attention towards convincing you and brainwashing you that you are not complete without a woman. And that whatever deal they slop off the table at you, that's the one you need to take. But you need to hurry up and get that together. And as men, the risks involved have skyrocketed. Therefore, the value you need to place on it needs to skyrocket also. Your job is to increase your value, increase your capability, increase your social capability, be the ultimate version of yourself, be something irresistible and undeniable, and then tell yourself, you know what? Marriage is optional. Please understand something. They've told you that even after a woman gets pregnant, her giving birth to your children, by your, I mean both of y'all's children, her giving birth to your children is optional. And if you question her long enough, you'll find out men are much more hardcore against abortion than women are. Please understand that. The men are far more hardcore against abortion than the women. Now, why in the hell would that be? Because women understand, well, it sure is heinous and it's nasty and it's evil, but it gives me leverage. Now, that's the evil, ugly reality that men don't want to face. That women as a group, regardless of what she says in your face, that when they get alone, this is the way the conversation goes. They never tell each other, you should never have an abortion, that's heinous, you can't kill children. They never say that. When they get together with each other, they comfort each other. They talk about what the man doing wrong. If he was okay, if it wasn't for him being screwed up, you would love to give birth to them kids. They don't give her that treatment. Now, as a man, if you say, hey, the woman needs to abort the kid, they don't come comfort you. They tell you you're a monster. That's her choice. Okay, fellas, protection, provision, dominance, competence. That needs to become a luxury product.
And deal with it, nigga.
You have never heard this anywhere else before. It's never been stated by anybody. Has not been said in any corner of YouTube or the internet. Google it. Google it and then go make yourself look more stupid than you already are. A man's protection, provision, dominance, and competence should now be regarded as an ultra luxury product. It ain't a Cadillac. It's not a G-Wagon or a Range Rover. We talking straight Rolls Royce. We're talking straight Rolls Royce, straight McLaren, straight Koenigsegg. It's the Bugatti of characteristics. You want to talk about an ideology that changes everything? Then I need men to start regarding you need to be ultra competent and ultra capable because you have no leverage with something you don't have. It makes no sense whatsoever to say one criticism about females or even to be here for a level of competence you don't even have. So first, you have to gain that. But from this day forward, it should no longer be a given about your protection and provision, and you need to see it differently. You go into divorce court and you're raped. They get pregnant and you're raped. Everybody is trying to figure out how to rape you 8 ways from Tuesday. You need to start seeing permanent commitments as an ultra luxury product. Your protection and provision has been taken for granted. It's being abused, and you have a bunch of people encouraging you to ignore it. They're encouraging you to let other people abuse it. So from now on, you need to introduce this new phrase into your lexicons, people. A man's protection and provision is no longer a right or a guarantee. Protection, provision, dominance, and competence are ultra luxury products. Welcome to Billionaires Row. Incompetence and mediocrity, that's the dollar store. Protection and provision is Walmart. But for those of you who have I'm talking about if you debase it by itself, that old standard, that's Walmart. I'm letting you know that today, no. You need to give the highest quality of protection, provision, dominance, and competence. You give the highest quality of it because it needs to be an ultra luxury product. And you need to regard it that way and carry it that way. And oh yeah, by the way, and say it just like that. And in these corners, they try to talk about red pill and tradcon and traditional conservatives say, hey, protection and provision is an ultra luxury product now. It's not a bargain basement product. It's not Walmart. It's not Costco. You want protection and provision? You want dominance and competence? Oh, no. I got to check that credit. I got to check that female FICO. You have to qualify for it. Well, ma'am, I got good news and I got bad news. Because she's like, well, I'm a size 6. I got triple D cups. All right, so far, so good. I have a body count in double digits. Damn! Okay. I like to work most of the time, some of the time. Okay. I'm over the age of 25. Yikes. I've been married, divorced, bastard kids, whatever. But I'm ready to get things together now. Okay. Well, ma'am, I got good news and bad news for you. First, the bad news. Yeah. That that stuff you was talking about, that monogamy and all that, man. Yeah, baby, that's it. You have failed to. We looked at your score is too low. Your score is too low. You got all kinds of red flags on this FICO, so you don't qualify for that. But you do qualify for a side chick position. Yes, sir, ma'am. Congratulations. You don't qualify as wife material, but you do qualify for one of our side chick positions. You do qualify for one of them. Yes, you do. Fellas need to start normalizing saying that. You need to stop being squeamish about saying that. fellas want to complain all damn day when females are ruthless about what you don't qualify for. If you're not what she's looking for, you'll be standing next to her at the club and she's acting like you don't even exist. You're 3 inches from her ear and she's acting like you don't even exist. And the fellas just, oh well, let me try the next one here. With the same damn line. And the other thing is to be unapologetic about it. You have to be unapologetic about it, because as long as you tell people that you're not going to get up from the table, that they're sitting you down at the table to negotiate marriage and you're never going to get up from the table. Okay, then you realize that's the worst negotiator, is the one who's will never get up from the table. You have to be willing to do that. You have to be willing to get up from the table and say, you know what? I'm not even here to negotiate marriage. I'm not here to negotiate exclusivity. Yeah, I've kind of just checked out of all that stuff y'all talking about. I'm not with it. Do you realize you just disarmed them? When they sit up here and threaten you, you ain't never gonna get married like that. I'm not trying to get married, so yeah. Any more idle threats you want to make? Don't you understand that you sap people's souls when you say that? They thought they had your trump card. They thought they had your whole card. They thought that they could shut you down with one sentence. You all have been given the wrong damn answers. The response to "you'll never get married" is not "yes, I will." The response to "you'll never get married" is "that's not my goal anyway." So, any other idle threats you want to make? Yeah, marriage is your goal, not mine. Anything else? Then you're going to see people change when men as a group operate that way. Now, the problem that we have is, unfortunately, there's more desperate simps out here than there are competent producers. So that's been an issue. But please understand, the proper response to somebody threatening you and saying that you'll never get married isn't to sit up here and try to convince them that you're marriage material. Just let them know, hey, bro, I'm not even playing that game. I'm not even playing that game. That's your goal, not mine. So I'm not even really looking for that. So you can't hold that over my head. Please understand the name of the game. The name of the game is to have what's attractive. The name of the game is to have leverage. Also, the name of the game is to folks, let me tell y'all right now, some folks are going to say it's beyond evil. We getting off. I got to say it here tonight. We're rewriting everything. We're rewriting everything. Stop playing the old damn game. Stop playing the old game. You all need to understand and accept expiration dates. Damn! These are all things that have been held over men's heads and have been weaponized against you. Men, you keep saying, and you're making them idle threats. You're bluffing when you talk about you have a longer runway than women, and that the time to start a family for you is longer than it is for women. Okay, you say that, but then you show up in women's DMs desperate as hell. And then they can immediately see, oh, this nigga's bluffing. If that's really what you are and really where you are, why is it you're not starting from that position? That, hey, I'm in no hurry. I can do it whenever I want to. And no, I seriously mean that. Fellas sit up here and wait until they've gotten divorced, broken into pieces, drugged through the damn divorce court grinder, and then they discover how to be a self-sufficient, emotionally self-sufficient man. Then they learn to stop looking for happily ever after. Now, this is going to crush a lot of your damn souls because most males are incompetent and inept at being able to get one female. So when you tell them, hey, whatever chick you with needs to have an expiration date, he's like, but dude, do you know how much work it took to get the last one? So you see, you become an idle threat and you're just bluffing because we understand it's not easy for you. It doesn't come naturally. When it comes easy and naturally, you're not afraid to immediately put in an expiration date. I don't know when her expiration date is, but what you do tell yourself is that, yeah, I was looking for a female. I was looking for females when I met you. I'll be looking when I leave you. Now that can be what I'm saying is that's a mindset that men today better adopt, but that doesn't go for everybody. You can't be Pookie, Ray Ray, and Bill Bill. I mean, you can, but you're just going to get the bottom of the damn barrel. The bottom line is that if you are an ultra luxury product, there's competition for you. And if there isn't, you're doing something wrong. But if there's competition, you're supposed to act as if there is. Let me give you a case in point. Everybody in here is familiar with Hermes. All the females in here are familiar with Hermes. Okay, we all know how Hermes works. You don't just walk in the Hermes store and say, I'll take a Birkin. It doesn't matter how much money you got. It doesn't matter how black your American Express black card is. You can't walk into a Birkin store and just go a Hermes store and just walk off with a Birkin or a Kelly. They put you through this bull jive ass process where you got to buy a bunch of overpriced other crap you don't even want. And then if you kiss their asses long enough, finally they'll allow you to buy a Birkin in a year or two. And guess what? Ferrari is the same way. For those of you who didn't know, Ferrari's the same way. That's why Jay Leno said that he would never want to own a Ferrari because even at his level, that was the experience they wanted to give him. He's like, yeah, screw you. Okay, but as men, you have something more valuable than Ferrari or Hermes. And fellas are out here handing out like damn me great value soup. Fellas are handing out like great value chili. And that's the mindset that needs to change. You need to have an attitude that you're an ultra luxury product, but that only applies if you've achieved it. And then from there, it's like, I don't care who you're with, where you go. You start from the standpoint that there's an expiration date. Not one set by you, but simply one that you understand that you're not going to hold this female to the standard or the expectation that she's going to be with you for the rest of her life. Or that you're even preparing that. I have a bunch of divorced men listening to me right now. There's thousands of you listening to me live right now. I've got a bunch of you who are divorced men, and you weren't the one who pulled the trigger. And now that you're divorced, now that you gotten your ass broken open, now you can open yourself up to the concept that a female can have an expiration date. Well, okay, well, wouldn't it be nice if you could have that kind of attitude before they take your ass into court and throw you in the meat grinder? Wouldn't it be great if you could have that attitude before then without having to get your ass broken open? Why is it you can't have it before then? Because you're desperate and you don't really have options like that. Okay. When you have the right mindset, and hopefully you can get it without having to go through divorce and child support and other stupidity, maybe if you can get it then, it's like, okay, now you're ready to be stomped down. Now you're ready to be cold hard about it. When the signs were there, that's the society you're living in. Okay, then take it from where it is. Hey, I'm not holding her to any expectations. I understand that this could stop tomorrow. I understand that this could stop tomorrow. This could be over tomorrow. 99% of men are unwilling to do that. Well, I should say 90%. 90% of men are unwilling to do that. You're unwilling to approach any sort of relationship with the expectation this could end tomorrow. So what I'm saying is that you take your job more seriously. Men take their jobs more seriously than they do their personal relationships. You go to your job and you're under no illusions. It doesn't matter how many years you've been there. It doesn't matter how much work you put in. It doesn't matter how much money you've made the company. It doesn't matter how long you've sacrificed and sweated for them. It doesn't matter how much overtime, how many holidays. It doesn't matter a damn thing. You show up tomorrow and they could drop your ass. They can drop you tomorrow. Hell, they could drop you today. You have no expectation that they owe you, no matter how much work you put in. Some of y'all done gotten the fist fights on the damn job, defending their damn work, folks shooting at you. And I mean, okay, and dude, and they can still, you still understand that don't mean nothing. They can drop you today if they want to. So why is it in your personal relationships that you don't even have employment and you're not seeing it the same way that, hey, this could be over today? I'm not asking for it to be over today. I'm not hoping it's over today. I just understand that in the society and circumstances we're under, this could be over today. I might have this woman this morning, and by this afternoon, we're done. Now, that's a cold reality to have to accept. That, by the way, you might have a woman this morning and by this afternoon, she's done. Fellas, please remember that 70% of divorces are filed by the women. Okay, but she did not divorce you that day. She had been preparing to divorce you for at least a year. She had already made up her mind. So for the last year, while you two been going on dates and talking about anniversaries and birthdays and holidays, and having sex and toes curling, and you thinking, okay, everything is still just fine. And she's sitting there saying, next month I'm divorcing you. She's saying that in her head. She knows that when you woke up today, you thought you still had a woman, and she knows that you won't have one this afternoon. But she's going to allow you to believe whatever you want to believe this morning, while she knows that by this afternoon, you ain't going to have nothing. Now, that's what they do to men every single day in every single state. And there's no mercy, no sympathy, no anything. You just stuck with picking up the wreckage. And what I'm saying is, okay, the time to be cognizant of that and understand that is before you get started, not after. Before you get started, your default understanding and acceptance is this could end today. I'm not looking 20 years down the road. I'm not looking 20 months down the road. Ain't looking 20 days down the road. You got a woman today. There's nothing that requires her to stay. So you go off and go purchase major things. There's nothing that requires her to stick around after you do that. So if you've accepted that there's an expiration date, you're a luxury product and there's an expiration date, then you were already assuming that there's going to be something after this. Now, I didn't say you hope for it. I didn't say you wish it. I didn't say that you were planning it. But, hey, man, you understand, hey, that's the way the game go. She's quick to tell you that she's not your property. Let's be clear about that. They're very quick to tell a man that she's not your property. Okay, she's not your property, and you're not hers either. So the house and the car and this excellence that you provide, it's like, by the way, you got to qualify for that. And you can't threaten me with leaving because we already expect that. Jason, why did you bring up Hermes and Ferrari? Because Hermes and Ferrari, let people walk out the door. They're not afraid to offend anyone. Ferrari has sent cease and desist, and I don't know if they've ever actually sued anybody, but Ferrari has threatened to sue their own customers after you buy the Ferrari. If you make too many alterations on it and post it on social media, they'll threaten to sue you. Hermes and Ferrari, ultra luxury outlets, do not fight to keep people. They say, dude, I did you a privilege letting you walk in here on account of the fact I can do things for you that you could never do for me. We can both give each other sexual thrills. We can both cook for each other. We can both clean for each other. We can both teach the children their ABCs. Only one of us can buy that house, that car, stand in front of them bullets. There's not a single female listening in here, live or damning recorded, who has a new Range Rover, a new G-Wagon, a new Maybach GLS, and that's just reality.
And deal with it, nigga.
Don't let none of these lying ass hoes, these hoes, I damn sure did.
And deal with it, nigga.
Don't let none of these lying ass hoes on Instagram fool you all. None of them is pushing that Bentley that they stole or were sitting in a man's seat for. That's why you'll never see them again. If they do, they'll be Kendra G. They'll be with one old enough to go to middle school, but ain't none of them driving off the lot with anything new. They're not driving off the lot with anything late model. And none of them are driving off with anything over 6 figures. None. Zero. Not a one. And by the way, if there's a single female that wants to dispute that, baby, let's go car for car, toe for toe. We can do that one. Bring your registration. It's real easy to post up crap on Instagram. I want y'all to understand something. You got people, women doing Instagram accounts, and a lot of these are actually paid for by men. What? These are products. These are product pages. They're not paying for this stuff. They're going on Turo and renting it. Then hurrying up, making a whole bunch of videos. That's why you see daytime footage and nighttime footage. But it all looks so nice. How is she sitting there? These heifers can't even take a straight selfie. The camera's always crooked. How are they taking all these professional quality videos of them driving these expensive cars? That's because she didn't get the car. It's not hers. And she didn't make the video. So that is why right now, if I sit up here and said, okay, I'm just telling y'all right now. Matter of fact, I'll put this up as a post online. It's like, okay, I'll marry the chick who's got her own G-Wagon, her own 2025 G-Wagon. Oh, well, watch the tumbleweeds blow by. Please understand that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. There's not one of these females out here who is trying to figure out how she gonna buy that Birkin. She will spend the rest of her life dreaming about it. Birkin, let me explain something to y'all. For those of you who, let me go ahead and lay this down. For those of you who never traveled around like that, you got these places that have their outlets. You have these places that have their outlets. Okay, that's fine, that's cool. But there were certain folks who don't want those people. You see, there's a line of people at Gucci. So Gucci is going to have to get that together because their name is kind of degraded because too many people can shop there. So Gucci probably makes more money now than they used to make, but that's because you got too many people shopping there. What that does, that's called brand dilution. When everybody can shop, you can't be an ultra luxury brand when everyone can shop there. That's why Prada, when their new CEO took over, first thing he did was like, yeah, we're going to change things. No sales, no clearances, no nothing. The price is the price and away we go. That was the first thing he did, was wanted to start reducing the customer supply to get the brand value back up again. Hermes ain't never let it go. Hermes has never been that way. They've never been something for everyone. They're proud to tell people, get out of my store. They're proud to tell them that. They're proud for you not to be a customer. You can't bluff your way through it. Okay, well, that's the reason why none of these chicks online, you might see one with a YSL, you might see one, with a Gucci, but that's rare. By the way, even the Gucci bags are rare. And you might have one little old lady with a Chanel bag. But if y'all go down your timelines, let's just call it what it is. You don't really see any Chanel bags. You really don't see any. You might see one in a long blue moon. It's not like every profile got a Chanel bag. No, they don't. Okay. That means Hermes is completely out of the question. You know why? Because Hermes filters those people out. They filter the Gucci buyers out because Hermes makes you pay a bunch of crap. You're going to pay as much for a Fendi bag before you can ever get to their Hermes, to the Birkin or the Kelly. So what they do is they bleed you dry first. And that's what's going to happen. So that's what makes them not even walk in there. So I said all that to explain to you, the chicks online, buddy, you ain't never going to see them with a Birkin. She's going to dream about that for the rest of her days. She can't get through the qualifying process. I don't care how much time you give her, how much leeway you give her. It ain't happening. She is not going to go through that process. Hell, she can't afford the entry-level items you have to get the Birkin. She'll never get there. Not happening. She ain't going to push a Prada. That's not happening either. The only way it's going to happen is if you get it, if you do it. That's the only way it'll occur. If you as a man don't do it, it's not going to happen. They're not going. That takes too much damn time and way too much discipline. It's not happening. So when you go these cities and you go these places, it's already rigged in there. It's already set in there. They're not going to get past that. And as a man, that's where you need to be. You need to be of the mindset that you're an ultra luxury product. You're okay with folk getting up and walking because your value is going to stay where it's at. Your value is going to stay where it's at. That's all. So don't get sucked down in the tradcon conversation. Stop letting people get you to talk about traditional wives. Men today need to stop being, quote, traditional men. You need to be excellent. You need to be a producer, but the world has changed. All of it has changed. And if you're going to keep up, you need to alter and adapt along with it. You cannot walk into the problem with listening to Matt the Moron Walsh is that he's telling you to use your grandfather's playbook. You got your grandfather's expectations, which means you're also playing with your grandfather's playbook. With females who are a lot more slick and sly and calculating. That's not gonna work. They see you coming. All that's going to prepare you for is to be a professional simp. And take a look at what's happened to the professional simps. The women got their bailouts. They got their retirement plans. The dudes look crazy as hell. Nobody respects them. No one admires them. No one listens to them. Most of them don't even show up anymore. He just goes to work and goes to her. And that's it. Oh, yeah. And it would be different if she was an appreciating asset. You take a look at him. I mean, within a few years, she's put on a bunch of weight. She's gone from a 4 to a 3. It doesn't go well. I'm just being brutally honest with you to say, yeah, let's not sit up here and play games. Let's not play games. Don't play with yourself and don't deceive yourself into thinking you have something you don't. That you have a leverage that you don't really have. The point of having leverage is so you can have power and dominance, so that you can have leadership, so that you can be admired. That's the point. That's what makes going those extra steps worth it. That's what makes it worth it. If no one explains that to you, then you can't be honest with yourself or with them about what you're doing or why you're doing it. That's the problem. So let them go ahead and squabble with each other. And please understand, this is just getting started because you have two sides who aren't going to budge. Now, right now, what the white males are trying to do is what I told you they were going to do. I said this forever here. They're pulling out the stops. They're making it they're putting this on the front page, front line as an issue. That they are unhappy with the way the women are comporting themselves. And by the way, when Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro are talking about it, you're not talking about for views. Obviously, there's trouble in paradise. What? Ain't that right, Steven Crowder? Damn! So, we'll see, Matt. Yeah, you've been married for 15 years. We'll see if that lasts. But in any case, because you're talking about issues that really don't even apply to you and nobody asked you to be the spokesperson of. Why are you so interested in being the spokesperson for an issue that nobody invited you into? No one looks to you for leadership. No one expects to hear what you have to say about it. And yet you're very interested in it. Sounds like a Johnny-come-lately who's having to wrestle with a few things. That's what it sounds like to me. All right. But I don't want you all to get bogged down into that and get confused about what's actually going on. This is a fight between two factions. Somebody who is, both of them who are trying to morph the world into the generational view that they have. That's what you're seeing unfold. Now, neither one of them wants what is in your best interests. Matt Walsh doesn't want what is in your best interests. Megyn Kelly does not want what is in your best interests. Both of them simply want to control you. That's the problem. Both of them want to control you. Both of them are going to tell you that if you don't live the way they want you to, then you're a bad man. You're a bad person. Now, women can do everything. Women can lie, cheat, steal, assault you, burn your car up, kill your children, give them away at a fire station while they're babies. That's what we call afterbirth abortion. Damn! Now, women can do whatever they want to do, but if you're a man, if you're not living the way they want you to, all of a sudden you're a bad person. And what I'm saying is the first thing you must do is shake that particular slave shackle off of you. You are to tell them, I don't have to abide by any of these rules. I can have who I want. I can have as many as I want. What? I can have them wherever I want. I can have them however I want. I can have them for however long I want. There are no rules for me. None. Not a single one. Well, there's only one rule. Everyone has to be consenting. That's the only rule. The only rule I have to abide by is everyone has to be consenting. But no, I don't have to get married. No, I don't have to buy them a house. No, I don't have to do private. No, I don't have to family plan. No, I don't have to do any of that. No, I don't. I'm fine just the way I am. I'm fine stacking up enough resources to take care of 10 wives and never get married once. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. We don't want to be you, Matt. We don't want to be you. even the guys on the white side, they don't want to be you. Even if they agree with you, Johnny come lately, finally tagging along and agreeing with stuff that's been said now for over a decade. By the way, glad you agree with it, but they don't want to be you. So it's fine. I have never minced words with anybody about the side chick thing. I'm sitting up here and saying it for years. If I say it from a microphone, a woman would be a damn fool to sit up here and think I'm kidding or playing about it. I'm not kidding and I'm not playing. I'm not joking. If you're cool with it, that's great. If you're not cool with it, that's great too. Now, that's what you can say when you got leverage. There's nothing for us to fight or argue about. What are you going to tell me, that I'm a bad man or a bad person because I don't subscribe to what you're saying? I don't care what you're saying. That's why it doesn't offend me. I don't care what you're saying. That doesn't matter to me. I don't care about that at all. Not at all. Now, when you do that, and when you're ready to say, when you are able to say that with confidence, because there's where the real thing comes from there. The real thing comes from being able to say that with confidence. What I'm saying is that, fellas, nobody cares if you're broke Billy saying that. When you're a fella driving an $80,000 car, when you're a fella driving a $100,000 car, when you can afford trips and all that stuff, when you're in the top 10% and you say that, everyone pays attention. People take that seriously. When you're a man who is productive on that level, people take it seriously. They take it seriously. So men have to get into a position, that position that Matt's talking about actually is way beyond that, because Matt wants you to settle in and tell you that you have to follow his identity path. No, you don't. No, you don't. You're fine. Fellas, if you want one female, that's fine. If you want 10, that's fine. That's okay. If you can handle it and if you qualify for it. If you want to get married, I guess that's okay for you. If you don't, that's fine too. But you don't have to follow any of these pre-prescribed notions that these other people want you to do. Because please understand, Matt wants you to be a part of the workforce so that you can subscribe to his channel and pay for his schlock. Everybody's trying to figure out how to get men to return back to our post-World War II baby boomer white picket fence obligation. Everyone's trying to figure out how to get us back there. And they can't force us to do it. So everyone, Megyn and Matt, both of them are saying the same thing. What they're saying about the females is different. But do you notice that what they expect from the men is the same? Did y'all notice that little sleight of hand from Matt the moron and Megyn the moron? Eminem? Did you all notice that what they want from women is different, but what they expect from the men, did you all notice it's the same? They didn't say that the men get to change anything of what the men are actually doing. So the men are still being told, you go to work, you work your ass off, you provide, whether they're grateful or not, this is your obligation. They're both saying the same thing, that men are obligated to do something. And what I'm telling you is we're not obligated to do a damn thing. Except be excellent. Everything after that is a privilege. The only thing we're obligated to do is be excellent. Anything beyond excellence is a privilege. We're an ultra luxury product. We don't owe you patronage in our establishment. Maybe you'll get married to a high quality man. Maybe you'll get married to a producer, and by that means he gives you the ultimate blessing of exclusivity if he chooses to be exclusive, because even that's not necessarily required. But yeah, we write the rules. And you're not going to hold anything over our heads. Now, there's something new. This is not simply a matter of being some jackass talking about, well, I don't like marriage. I don't think that's okay. We shouldn't have to have that there. What I'm saying is what they're not saying there before. The rules are whatever we say the rules are. What qualifies you to do that is your level of performance. Once you reach that level of performance, and the rules are what we say. We make up the rules from here. That's all. You don't tell us which the right way to go is. The right way to go is whichever way we say it is. If Matt Walsh is okay with 1 female and 6 kids, well, that's him. If that's what he wants, well, that's him. Everybody wants you to get to a level where you feel you're obligated, and then they're going to all tell you, once you get there, they're going to tell you what you can't do. Everyone wants to get us pigeonholed so that once they got us there, they can tell us what we're not going to be allowed to do. You got to be okay. Let me tell you something right now. The great thing about being a man with options is I'm not obligated to make the situation work.
And deal with it, nigga.
You know what the great thing is about being a man who is single with options and capabilities and being a producer? I don't have to make the relationship work. I don't have to work things out with you. I don't have to understand. I don't have to forgive you. There's a weight off your shoulders that Matt will never understand. I don't have to forgive you. I don't have to overlook your body count. I don't have to overlook your hoe phase. I don't have to overlook slut tendencies. I don't have to overlook slick talking at the mouth. I don't have to do any of that. We can be done today. We can be done right now, as a matter of fact. I want to remind men, productive, driven men, not you lazy mama's boys bastards, sit your ass down and just fantasize. That's your life. Fellas, understand something. We are where all the cool stuff is. That's it. Women don't got fly things. Men can afford fly things. You know why? Because women spend all their money on makeup and lipstick. You go to a man who's by himself, his life is minimal. Yeah, that's why we have more money and more wealth. We have more money and more wealth. Take a look at a single man's apartment and take a look at a single man's clothing closet, then take a look at a single female's clothing closet, and you can see why men make more money and have more money, save more money, and got more wealth. Open up our clothing closets and you can see why the women are in debt and the men got more wealth. And the women are not going to change. Let's be clear about that. So fellas, we are where the really fly stuff comes from. For the women, the really fly stuff is a pair of shoes. Did anybody notice the women don't even post shoes anymore online? Damn! We are where the really fly stuff is. The stuff that you fight over in the divorce, that's the stuff we bought. The men are arguing in the divorce over the stuff that he paid for. Not a damn thing she paid for. None of it's in her name. None of it's a part of what she doing. That's not Drea, Michelle, and the rest of them. They fighting over stuff that's in the man's name. Stuff that he paid for. Stuff that he made possible. If for every man who is in there, here, married or not, if you're in a relationship where y'all actually buy gifts, please, we're the ones who do all the fly stuff. That's 85-inch television, yeah, that's us. That genuine mahogany entertainment, that's us. That $10,000 sectional, that's us. Ain't no females will look at it, she ain't gonna buy it. The men are talking about $150,000 cars. The women ain't trying to figure out how to pay for that. She's like, look here, I'm going to drive my Mercedes C-Class, my Mercedes CLA, and pray for a man with a G-Wagon. That's women's financial plan to come up. She'll pay for her own CLA and manifest a man with a G-Wagon. What she won't do is work for one. We are where the fly stuff is. We are where the fly things happen. We're where the big stuff jump off from. We're where the ultra luxury experiences happen. Women get on the internet and lie their asses off. We're the ones who make that occur. Just us. That's it. In the chat room, Herbert, I got panels on my car, on my cars, plural, that I haven't taken the plastic off of. What? Immaculate condition, by the way, if I do say so myself. But by the way, yes, that's how men operate. A man who's on his game. That's how a grown man operates. Jason, what do you mean? I still got plastic on the screens for the infotainment system. For the rear seats, the screens on the rear seats, I still got the plastic on the screens for those. I don't mind telling you, why take it off? It protects it. Even if it didn't, why take it off? I'm not sitting back there. All the action is up in the front seats with me. So as men, we're the ones who do the fly stuff. We're the ones who get the really great things, the really big experiences. We're the ones who finance that. We're the ones who pay for that. We're the ones who make that possible. We're the ones who do those big things. That's it. Oh, do I need to hurt some old feelings? I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to go ahead and do it. I don't give a damn where you go. Fellas, let's be very, very clear. When you go on vacation somewhere, ladies, I got to read the mail. When you go on vacation somewhere, first of all, if you do get the Range Rover or the Aston Martin or the G-Wagon, if you do pull up in front of pull up in front of Caesar's Palace with it, it's going to be because you bought it. Fellas, for the really nice experiences, the women ain't trying to do that. The women are not trying to do that. The women are not trying to figure out how to spend $2,000 a night. There's not a single woman in here who has made a priority of being able to do that. I don't give a damn what her age is. There's not a single woman in here that I could tap her on the shoulder right now and say, let's go somewhere, and I want you to foot that bill for $2,000 a night. There's not a single one who could. Don't even start your lying. Get ready to get called out if you try it. And for any fellows who say they know a chick who does, get ready to get called out. They're not going to do that. Y'all talk about cruise ships. Okay, remember, part of it is getting on the cruise. You got to pay for every damn thing else. You got to pay for every damn thing else. God help you if there's a port of call. The women ain't going to pay for none of that. She's paying for the cruise, and that is it. Any of that extra stuff you got to pay for when you get on there. Oh, she ain't doing none of that? No. She's like, nigga, I paid for the cruise. You talking about going to the Maldives? You talking about going to the Maldives? Okay, you can talk about it all you want to. Hand your female the bill. Go ahead and go to one of them websites. I think Hilton's got one for the Maldives. Go ahead and go there, book for 5 days, and then come bring the laptop to your female. Come bring the laptop to your female. And tell her, hey, baby, I need to run your credit card right quick. Nigga, she might divorce you right there and right there. She might divorce you right there and right there. When she takes a look at that bottom line, she's like, wait a minute, that's 5 figures. What? She's like, yeah, baby. We together and everything. And I took care of the last 2, so. And you've always wanted to go to the Maldives, right? Watch that strong and independent turn into weak and dependent. It's not going to do that. Fellas, the really fly stuff, if you think back in your relationships, that was all you. The big ticket items, that was all you. The really impressive stuff, that was you. Even if there were times she did that, you were the one who kickstarted it. She didn't get the really expensive perfumes till you showed up and put the game in her. She wasn't really doing none of that. So fellas, we are where the action is. If you're on top of your game, that's us. We're where the action is. These chicks ain't going to Dubai. It's a bunch of damn influencers spent their damn life savings. You notice you don't even hear about Dubai anymore. Does anybody realize that? There were a bunch of people on the internet who made a bunch of money during the pandemic. Okay, a lot of them losing that money now. Adam22 talking about the money is low since the pandemic let up. Did y'all notice you're not hearing about Dubai anymore? On your Facebook timelines, nobody's going. You know why? Yeah, it dried up. If it happens now, and by the way, most of them had a man paying for that. Either on this side of the ocean or on that side. So they weren't financing that in. They're not gonna pay for it. There's no female trying to figure out how. Yes, she would love to pull up at the Conrad or the Ritz-Carlton in that Bentley, but she's not gonna do it. That's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. That's a stunning, memorable, lifelong memory. And she's like, and I'll be damned if I'm gonna do it. Have you all ever noticed that your female has no problem walking by the damn Fendi store like it ain't there, like it doesn't exist? She's not gonna foot that. She's waiting on you to do it. She's not gonna do it. So the super fly stuff, that's gonna come from you. And just you. And only you. Now, let me introduce the final specter in here that Matt and the boys don't want to talk about because he's not smart enough to, or educated enough, or intelligent enough, or informed enough. Even if the women could do it without us, that would make it even worse. Damn! Here's the killing part about it. Even if the women could do it without us, that would make it worse. Because it has no value this is like buying a birthday cake for yourself. It only has value if a man does it. So we don't just add value to it. We are what creates the value. Paying for her own trip to Cancun is worthless. You paying for it is what gives it its value. You being there is what gives it its value. You are what makes the memory worth remembering. If you're that dude. Without you, it's worthless. It's empty. Let me tell y'all the 2 most punishing words for a female. Girls trip. Nigga, please. Women hate girls trips. That's why if a female tells you and she's happy to go on a girls trip, that's because she's looking for a dude. No woman wants to be locked up in a room with 5 other females for a week. regardless of their age, whether they're 18 or 98. Women don't want to be locked up in a damn room with other females. They don't want to be in a car with other females. That mess they do on Instagram, that we're in my car with the girls with the Mercedes drop top. Those two can get along long enough for her to get from Publix to the mall. Then she got to get this heifer out of her car because they're going to be fighting. No woman sits around fantasizing about a girls' trip with a bunch of other females. When she says girls' trip and she's smiling, she means there's going to be a man involved. She intends for there to be a man involved at some point with this girls' trip. That's what she intends for it to be. That there will be a man involved at some point. But if you actually made her go with a bunch of other women, she's going to come back telling you about how this was the worst damn experience ever. You know why? Because women don't let other women lead.
And deal with it, nigga.
Oh, damn. There's going to be a bunch of females who were upset with what I've said in the last hour. Now they're going to come back talking about, Jason showed me right. Women don't let other women lead. The problem with going on a girls' trip is that one of the women is going to have to be the alpha. Women don't accept other women as their alphas. I don't care if she looks better than you, she's younger than you, she's flyer than you, she's more articulate than you, she's more charismatic. A woman is never going to look to another female as her leader or her alpha. Because as far as a woman's concerned, heifer, there ain't nothing you can do that I can't do, even if she's wrong. A lot of y'all think y'all Beyonce, you're not. So, fellas, the greatest punishment you can give a female is to tell her to go on vacation by her damn self. Better yet, go on vacation with a bunch of other broads. It's going to be awful because let me tell y'all where it's going to fall apart. It's going to fall apart in the first day. Sometime around 12 noon the first day. Let's just say they all fly there today. They get there tonight. They go to sleep. When they get up the next morning, things are going to fall apart within the first 4 hours. Jason, why? Because they're going to have to decide where and what they're going to eat.
Damn! Cookie! Nom, 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 nom. Oh, nom, nom, nom. Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
It's going to fall apart right there. When they have to decide what they're going to eat, I'm skipping breakfast. I'm going straight to lunch. When it's time to decide what they're going to eat, one chick is going to say, I want Italian. I don't like that. I want seafood. I don't like that. I want Mexican. I don't like that. I want Chinese. I'm vegan. Don't you know it's about to be a falling out right then, right there? Now, if there's a man, they will submit to the man. A bunch of chicks, they're all gonna want to have their way. Please understand that. Please understand that the trip just ran off the rails right then. And yes, the women will be offended because they gotta pay for their own damn meals. Now, when there's a man involved, they pretty much figure that's gonna be handled. But it's a bunch of chicks. It's not going to be one chick paying the tab for all of them. I'll be damned. So can you get them all to agree to go to one place? No, it's going to fall apart in the first day. They're going to be at each other's throats in the first day. They will not make it past 12 noon because everybody's going to be hungry. And they're going to be arguing over where they're going to eat or what they're going to have. And by the way, every single female who is in here who has ever taken a trip with a bunch of other chicks, you remember that that's when things started going bad. You all had your first disagreement when it was time to decide what and where you were going to eat. If there were only 2 of you, maybe you avoided that. If there were 3 of you or more, hell no. Round 1. So if you eliminate men from the equation, If men are part of the equation and women are difficult, if you eliminate us, it's impossible. It's going to be a terrible experience without us. We have to be a part of it. And the women know this. They know they can compare this. They've compared when they went with a man versus when they were with their gal pals. And they were like, it was a whole lot better with a man. And if they're not fighting each other when they get done for something to eat, they're going to be fighting over what they do after they eat. If it's 4 females, you got one who wants to go to the amusement park. You got one who wants to go to the mall. You got one who wants just to drive around and see stuff. And then you got one who doesn't want to leave the hotel at all. Every female in here, if you've ever taken a trip with 3 other women, those are the 4 classes of females when it's time to go do something. Okay, we went to a restaurant. They want to go back to the hotel and sleep. One of them just wants to stay at the hotel the whole damn time. She doesn't want to leave at all. You're upset because you paid all this money to go to Mexico or the Virgin Islands, and she don't want to go anywhere. She doesn't want to go anywhere at all. In the chat room, Alonda said, when I went on my girls' trip with my sorority, oh hell, the girls were playing Twister, Spin the Bottle, Strip Poker, and Truth or Dare. Alonda, was there a man in this room at all? I don't care if he was not heterosexual. Was there a man in that room, period, for any of the above games you just named? Any? She said, nope, not at all. Alonda, how many of them hit on you while you were there? Because it sounds like somebody was setting up, breaking somebody in. It sounds like somebody was setting up, breaking somebody in. Yeah, the strip poker thing was the last straw. Theirs. Strip poker with a bunch of broads? Sound to me like somebody want to know what you're working with. Call it what you want, but it sounds to me like somebody wanted to see what you're working with there. So they wanted to get you out there to see what was going on. Because Spin the Bottle, Twister. For those of you who don't remember how Twister works, you don't do Twister by yourself. For those of you who never saw the game Twister because you're too young, which is probably most of you, you don't play Twister by yourself. I want to know how many females in. I'm betting most females in here have not played Twister with another chick. I'm talking about a grown woman. It's one thing if you were in high school. Okay. Middle school, high school, fine. I'm talking about for grown women. I mean, let me just say it like this. For grown women, because now that you're grown, y'all got double D cups and BBLs, or maybe you got enough rear end without a BBL. You got double D cups and BBLs, and y'all are twisting and whining all over each other, really? I mean, like I'm saying, it's one thing when you were in middle school. It's another thing when y'all are grown women and G-strings and negligees. I mean, y'all are wearing G-strings and negligees either above or under your clothes, and this what we doing? All right. I mean, if they're okay with that, fine. I'm just pointing out that, by the way, I just couldn't help but notice grown women playing Twister and then Spin the Bottle. What happened when it was time to kiss for spin the bottle? What happened to that? Notice I didn't even ask her what sorority it is because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. When females go with other females, it's gonna be lame. It's gonna be lame. That's the problem. When females go off with other women, it's guaranteed to be lame. If they go off with each other, they're gonna go to an Usher concert or something with some men somewhere. What it's not gonna do is be good by themselves. So fellas, please stop letting the world underestimate you. Stop underestimating yourself. Stop selling yourself short. We are where the action is. If you're not some shy, recessive little wallflower, we are where the action is. We are where it's happening. We are where things are jumping off. We are where the big ticket items are. We are where the expensive stuff is. We are where the fly stuff is. And without us, there's nothing fly at all. Oh, Alonda, this is getting worse. Girl, did you think that made it better?
Damn!
Nigga, please.
Y'all, she just made it worse. So she thought she was cleaning it up. She made it worse. We were not naked at all. They had boy shorts and wife beaters, so she means tank tops. I wore a tank. I hope she means that. I wore a tank top and a tennis skirt. Did she think that made it better? Y'all, did she think that made it better? No, Jason, I wasn't naked. I'm glad to hear that. I was wearing a tank top and a tennis skirt. I was dressed like Serena Williams. Because we all know that men don't lust after Serena Williams wearing that little tennis skirt and that tank top when she goes out there for 20 years. Because we all know that that's not what's been happening. We all know that's not enough. Y'all, she said a tennis skirt. She didn't know. Alonda didn't know. She didn't know, y'all. We're not gonna drag her too badly, but she didn't know. She thought it was okay. She didn't know. Prince said the men ain't gonna play strip poker. I didn't even ask her about the strip poker thing. Alonda, did y'all like put on the button? I would like to hear how the strip poker game turned out, girl. Alonda didn't tell us how the strip poker game turned out. Because for men, if a nigga even suggests that. Oh, if a nigga even suggests that. Hey, fellas, after we're done, hunting and throwing axes, we can do some strip poker. Who brought this nigga? Don't let it be one of your longtime friends suggest. You be like, man, I thought you was cool. Done known this nigga for 30 years. I thought he was cool. He been waiting all this time to pull a Frank Ocean? Yeah, you done known this nigga since high school. It's like, goddamn. I mean, you sitting there thinking about some blackjack or, some dominoes. This nigga talk about strip pokers. Nigga, what?
Nigga, what?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. With men, that couldn't even been a suggestion. That wasn't just a suggestion with the girls. She talking about, and we also played strip poker. I'm like, I'll be damn. She didn't even stop before that. I mean, it started off bad enough. She didn't even stop there. She was like, well, it went on for a bit. We had Twister and Spin the Bottle. I'm like, and? Yeah, and there's an and besides Twister and Spin the Bottle. And strip poker. Oh, Lord. And Twister, strip poker, Spin the Bottle, and Truth or Dare. What in the Isle of Lesbos? I wish we would have a bunch of men around and nigga volunteer any of them games you just named. I mean, any one of those would have been out of line. I mean, any one of those. Fellas, do you see what the females do to compensate when we're not around? And by the way, do you think that was fly? How many of y'all think they had a fly time playing Spin the Bottle with a bunch of other chicks? How many of you think that was a fly game? How many of you think they're still talking about the time they played Spin the Bottle wherever they went? How many of y'all think they're still talking about that? They don't bring that story up. Nobody talks about the Twister vacation. Nobody talks about the Twister girls trip. She's in here tonight divulging secrets. Nobody talks about that. That's what I'm saying. Do y'all think that was an exciting damn game? Do you think they had fun? Do you think they had pleasant memories? Hell no, they're trying to forget that. Hey, I bet you there wasn't a second sorority hangout. I bet you that was the only one. There's not a one of them looking forward to their next little get-together. They had their one little shindig and that was it. Yeah, what'd she say? There wasn't another one. That was it. They had one lame-ass, whack-ass get-together. And by the way, one more thing. If you're in a room if you're a female in a room with 3 other females and y'all are playing Twister and Spin the Bottle and strip poker, doesn't that tell y'all that y'all wish you had a man?
And deal with it, nigga.
By the way, isn't that your first clue that, yeah, y'all really wish y'all had a man here, don't you? Oh, yeah, the desperation is real. When y'all get together and the first thing you all think to do is play Twister and strip poker and all this stuff here. Hey, girls, get in your damn mini skirts and let's play some Twister and Spin the Bottle. And man, y'all wish you had a man. All y'all did was go down there to be homesick for a man. That's all you did. They went down there and started imitating men because ain't one there. It's like, okay, how about you get some act right so you don't have to engage in this kind of humiliating stuff again? Actually have one. She is still trying to defend that damn tennis skirt, y'all. Damn! She's in the chat room still trying to defend it. It was a skirt, girl. Just quit. You already done said enough. Ma'am, you could have been wearing one of Hillary Clinton's pantsuits. Do you think that makes it better? You could have been wearing one of Hillary Clinton's pantsuits while y'all were playing Twister. Do you think that makes it... Okay, let me try this a different way, Alonda. For everybody in here listening, just in case you think that Jason's being too serious. If it was 4 men playing Twister...
Damn!
Nigga, please.
Tell me, what would those men be wearing that would make it okay in your eyes for them to be playing Twister with each other? Tell me. Blue jeans? Overalls? A hazmat suit? Tell me what 4 men playing Twister would have to wear to make it aight. Because she's thinking if she changes the attire, tell me what would the men have to wear, baby. It don't matter what y'all wearing. She's like, well, it was a skirt. No, baby, you just hold your head down and just. Mogul May, she's traumatized, bruh. She's trying to explain it away. The memories are flooding back. She's traumatized. Because I'm trying to think. I don't know, because if you're wearing a hyperbaric chamber. Okay, girl, you already said Laura London 2-3 times. We get it. She's like, this will clean it up. All right, go for it. Go ahead and go for it, babe. Do your best. What'd she say? If I argue this long enough, it'll make it all right. Okay. Ma'am, if there's a picture out there somewhere. Oh, if there's a picture out there somewhere, you better buy it and burn it. Because I'm just telling you right now, if it was a bunch of men, there's nothing they could wear that would make you say, okay. Y'all wish y'all had some women. You think about that for a few moments. There was 4 men playing Twister. The first thing you would say is, oh, you fellas got all the way out here and wish you had some women with you. Okay. Because I've never been anywhere where I was like, you know what? I really wish I could get twisted up with some dudes right now. Yes, sir. I really wish I could twist myself around another man right now. What in the world? In any case, fellas, I would like to thank Alonda for volunteering that simply to prove my point. If we're not around, things get real weird real quick. We are not optional. We are an essential element of the equation. If we're not leading things, if we're not kicking it off, if we're not directing, things get dumb. Because right now, if men show up, we're going to ask you one time as a courtesy what you would like. Let me tell y'all something about a hungry black man. When we get hungry, we might ask you one time as a courtesy what you would like. You sit there talking about, ooh, I don't know. Okay, you was asked. Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles it is. Okay, you was asked. Red Lobster it is. Oh, I got allergies to seafood. Heifer, you was asked what you wanted. You didn't have allergies when I asked you, so that's a wrap. I suggest you get the damn the butter biscuits when you get there. Get them Cheddar Bay biscuits. I suggest you pig out on them. You had your shot. Please understand, if you somewhere on vacation with a black man when he hungry, we did you a courtesy asking you what you would like. We ain't gonna sit here and dance with you all damn day. That's not happening at all. That's what you do with the other females when y'all hanging out. We're not gonna play with you about that. I asked you one time as a courtesy. First it was volunteer, next is voluntold. I'll be damned. Oh, Alonda, don't get in your damn feelings now, girl. You girl, don't say that. You know you set that up. You know you set that up. You just gave content. Don't get mad now. She's like, oh, I thought it was good. You just gave content. What's she gonna do? Go call the girls? Have a good night, man. This is the closest to men you're gonna get. What you gonna do? Go call them females again? We gonna do that? Girl, you better sit your ass down till I sign off. You don't want to find your ass in the middle of a game of strip poker again, do you? Damn! Hey, Alonda, I'm trying to save you, baby. You sneak off now, you gonna mess around and girl, you don't know what the hell they got next for you. Next up is Kiss or Tell. Alonda, if you sneak off now, just remember they had time to think about it. You don't want to get caught in the game of ebony kiss and tell. You don't want to take no chances on that, do you? Oh, trust me, it gets worse. She gonna get on the phone with them trying to tell her feelings, and whoever that chick was who suggested all them freaky games, oh, that's okay, Alonda. This is what's wrong with men in the first place, Alonda. This is why men are so judgmental. This is why we can't be around them. And this is why we have to stick together with each other. Okay. So just understand where the action is. As men, we give the direction. We set the tone, all that indecision stuff, and you ain't got to worry about with that. Especially if it's a man who's been around. Especially with men who've been around. With men who've been around, it's like, yeah, we ain't gonna do that. I don't know why you took the message away, Alonda, my teenage son. Okay, all right. She said her kids won't like her in the chat. I don't know why she backed away from that, Alonda. What are we doing? I'm going to have to get Alonda on Patreon. Alonda, I'm going to have to get you on Patreon, girl. I'm going to have to get you on Patreon. You obviously got a story to tell. Obviously you do. We need to get this out in the open. Fellas, square up. Don't get caught up in this tradcon nonsense. They're going to be going at each other hammer and tong, all for the purposes of controlling you. Get yourself built up. Make sure you have a direction. Don't get anybody pregnant. The world right now wants you to get folks pregnant. If you won't marry them, they want you to at least get them pregnant so that you can replenish the workforce at your expense. Don't play into anybody's damn hands. Take control of this thing. Don't let anyone try to define this stuff for you. You start writing your own destiny. Don't retread the path somebody else put out there trying to convince you and haze you and tell you that that's where you need to be. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. Don't worry, folks. The little tradcon civil war has just started. These men and women, it's been simmering for a while. Now that open hostilities have broken out, look for them to start going at each other more. They're going to be throwing a lot of subs, is what's going to happen, but look for them to be going at each other more. Watch for more of it. If you are new here to the business, welcome to the program that all your favorite YouTubers love to hate. Watch, click that red subscribe button, click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our Patreon, the link is in the description. Oh, my patrons, don't y'all say nothing now. My patrons, don't you say a damn thing. This ain't for YouTube. I already litany y'all last week. My patrons don't say a damn thing. If they're not members, they didn't see it. Oh, well. It is what it is. I'm saying it publicly. That's why I have patrons, so we can handle business. The rest of the internet don't want to do that. Okay, let them sit over there. But for my patrons, did I call it or did I call it? So for my patrons, oh, don't worry. We gonna chop it up tomorrow. We gonna chop it up tomorrow for real. Oh, we gonna chop it up tomorrow for real. Be there or be square. Only for the select few. Be there or be square. Everybody else, you just enjoy YouTube. Just do that. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about a damn thing. Don't worry about it. You ain't missing nothing. Don't worry about it. I'm an exclusive product. I don't want you joining Patreon now. I want to talk to the ones who were there last week. All the folk who missed it, and you just say where you at. I'm doing my Hermes thing right now. But tomorrow for my patrons, oh, we got a lot to discuss tomorrow, don't we? Oh, my patrons, we got a lot to discuss tomorrow now, don't we? Oh, we got so much to discuss tomorrow. So let's go ahead and get to it. 12 noon Central Time. I expect you to be there, be nowhere. I want to thank all of you for, well, first of all, I want to thank everybody who has contributed to tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Alonda, here's looking at you, kid. Erwin Davis, Iron Waffles, Cameron, Alessa Bay, she was giving out memberships tonight. So Alessa, thank you very much for giving out some memberships tonight, ma'am. The gift that keeps on giving. Og said that he had a disconnect with those folk for these reasons. It's generation, not gender. So the reason why I can speak to you all is because that's what I'm speaking about. That's where it matters. E.L. Smith, thank you to everybody else here. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program, live or recorded. Thank you all for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes this broadcast of The Business. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, Mr. Jason Black. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, handle your business, or your business will handle you.